Chapter 586. Tianyi Immortal Mansion. Now that the crisis was over, everyone was relieved. Tianjin looked at Tengaku and said, "Uncle 3, how did you get here so quickly?" "About that. Earlier on, I was searching for some ruins in the vicinity. Later on, I received a message from the leader saying that you guys were in danger. Therefore, I rushed over here as fast as I could." The Heaven Destroyer god said, "Thankfully, I was in the vicinity. Otherwise, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Yes, if Uncle 3 hadn't arrived in time, I'm afraid that Yang Hongwu would have been taken away," Tian Xinyan said. "Haha, that's not necessarily the case," Tengaku said with a laugh. Yang Hongwu knew that Tengaku must have known that he had just helped him. However, seeing that Tengaku didn't say anything, Yang Hongwu was relieved. The battle spirit possession, which could unleash the combat strength of a venerable, was one of Yang Hongwu's trump cards. Of course, it was also Yang Hongwu's biggest trump card now. "Well, you're safe now. I'm leaving." Tengaku looked at everyone and said, "Wait, Uncle 3, I'm afraid there's something I need your help with," Tianjin hurriedly said when he saw that Tengaku was about to leave. "What's the matter? Just say it. I'm not those old fogies. Don't dawdle when you speak or do things. You're good at everything, but this makes people feel bad. Also, you're not young anymore. Where are you going to find a cultivation partner?" The heavenly destruction deity said, "You know that our branch is only left with you and me. Your third uncle, I, will not be able to have any descendants in this lifetime. Therefore, the bloodline of our branch will have to depend on you." Tianjin blushed and said, "Uncle 3, how can you say this?" Although Tian Xinjiu was Tianjin's nephew, in fact, Tian Xinjiu and Tianjin didn't belong to the same branch. The Tian clan was a huge clan, and Tianjin and Tengaku didn't dare to belong to the same branch. Compared to Tian Xinjiu's branch, which had a large population, Tianjin and Tengaku's branch, which only had the two of them left. "Hi, you're shy. Do you have someone you like? When will you bring him here? Let me see if he's suitable for me." Tengaku saw his niece's expression, and he was happy. However, Sha Peng and Feng Gaoga's faces darkened. In fact, they liked Tianjin, but Tianjin didn't have any feelings for them. After so many years, they didn't give up, but they also knew that it was impossible in the end. "Uncle 3, I'm not talking to you about this. It's about Yang Hongwu," Tianjin said. "Yang Hongwu, what's the matter?" Tengaku slightly frowned and said, "With Yang Hongwu's explosive power, there was no way to solve it? It seemed that the matter wasn't that simple. It's like this. Yang Hongwu offended Zetian of the Zetian clan. His friend was taken away by Zetian. You know Zetian's background. He is now protected by the old antique of the Tai Xianfu. Although he is now in the Tianyi Immortal Mansion, it's not easy to let Zetian in. So I hope that Uncle 3 can come forward and solve this matter," Tianjin said. "Well, let me talk to him about this matter." A cold light flashed in Tengaku's eyes. Tengaku didn't have a good impression of the Tai Xianfu. When he killed the old ancestor of the Tianyi Immortal Mansion, it was because the old ancestor always protected Tai Xianfu. What was more infuriating was that the old ancestor killed his most beloved woman. Therefore, he was so furious that his strength exploded. In a fit of anger, he killed the old ancestor and killed all the people of the Tai Xianfu who hurt his beloved woman. No one survived. I'd like to see who dares to stop me and protect that little bastard Tai Xianfu. Yang Hongwu, hurry up and thank the Grandmaster." Tianjin was overjoyed when he heard Yang Hongwu's words. He kicked Yang Hongwu and said, "Thank you, Grandmaster." Of course, Yang Hongwu was also happy. With the support of such a terrifying expert, it should be much easier to rescue Yuji. "What Grandmaster? It's so unpleasant to hear. If you don't mind that I'm too old, you can call me third brother." Tengaku waved his hand and said unhappily. Tianjin's face darkened. This Uncle 3 was like this. He didn't have any etiquette when doing things. He did everything according to his own preferences. No matter who he talked to, he always liked to talk about his brother. Yang Hongwu also looked embarrassed. "That, Grandmaster, this is not appropriate." "What's not appropriate?" What are you worried about? If I say it's okay, then it's okay. If you don't recognize me as your brother, then you look down on me. As for what you're worried about, I know that you are my niece's disciple. It's nothing. We could just call each other our own. In front of her, you can call her master. In front of me, you can call me third brother. What's the big deal? Isn't the purpose of life in this world to be happy? Heaven Destroyer deity stretched out his hand and placed it on Yang Hongwu's shoulder. Acting like a good brother, he said, Let's go back to the Tianyi Immortal Mansion and have a drink at my place. Let me tell you, I have a few jars of good wine. I found them in an ancient ruin when I was old. Well, it's very hard to get. It's okay. Let's go our own way. Tian Jinyun touched her forehead. She didn't have any way to deal with this Uncle 3. If she didn't agree, she was afraid that this Uncle 3 would make other trouble, which would be even more difficult to deal with. The group entered the battleship. This time, no one stopped them. They smoothly arrived at the mountain gate of Tianyi Immortal Mansion. Tianyi Immortal Mansion was located on top of a huge mountain range. This mountain range was so tall that it reached the clouds. It was winding and spiraling like a huge dragon. It was mighty and majestic. The main peak of Tianyi Immortal Mansion was a huge peak. It was the highest peak in the entire ancient domain. Immortal Qi lingered on top of it. Green pines, green cypresses, immortal egrets, and white cranes were constantly flying around. There were all kinds of rare and strange beasts in the mountain. On top of that huge peak, there was a huge palace that seemed to be hanging on top of it. It was amazing and shocking. This was the real Immortal Mansion. Shocking, right? Gao Qingqing said when she saw Yang Hongwu's eyes were wide open. Compared to Tianyi Academy in ancient desolate continent, isn't this a world apart? It's really shocking. Yang Hongwu said. He wasn't shocked by these things. He was shocked by the huge formation and the talisman seals on it. That was what really shocked him. Chapter 587. Great Extreme Peak, what a big deal. Yang Hongwu sighed. The founder of the Tianyi Immortal Mansion must have spent a lot of effort. The emperor of the Tianyi Immortal Mansion was indeed a powerful figure. Of course. Do you think that the Tianyi Immortal Mansion has always been the #1 sect in the entire ancient region for nothing? Gao Qingqing raised her little head and said proudly. Haha, Brother Yang, what do you see? Tengaku said while walking. Yang Hongwu nodded. The mountain range where the Tianyi Immortal Mansion is located should be a hole. It's a huge formation. Yang Hongwu's words made Tengaku very surprised. However, Tian Jinyun and the others weren't surprised at all. One must know that Yang Hongwu was a 7th grade array master. Naturally, they wouldn't be surprised if he could see this. Brother Yang, you are really amazing. You are the only person I have seen who has entered the Tianyi Immortal Mansion. You are the only one who can see that the entire mountain range and the entire Tianyi Immortal Mansion is a huge array. Heaven Annihilation Deity raised his thumb and said, Uncle 3, you don't know this. Yang Hongwu is not only talented in cultivation, but also has extraordinary attainments in formations. He's also a 7th grade array master. In this aspect, he's not inferior to me, Tian Jinyun said with a smile. Not only that, he's also an alchemist. He's the young 7th grade pill king that caused a lot of commotion in the Tianyi Academy in the ancient desolate continent. Oh my God, it seems that I really have a discerning eye. Sure enough, only such an outstanding person is worthy of being my brother. Tengaku clapped his hands and said loudly. Tian Jinyun and the others were speechless. This would make it sound like he had a discerning eye. This was simply too shameless. Let's go. We'll go straight to that old man. Huang Daji, Tengaku said. Ask him to call Zi Tian out. Huang Daji was an old ancestor of the Tianyi Immortal Mansion. He was also the one who guided Zi Tian's cultivation in the Tianyi Immortal Mansion. Of course, the most important thing was that Huang Daji had a close relationship with the Tai Xianfu. However, Tengaku didn't like him and never gave him any face. Who is Huang Daji? Yang Hongwu was not sure and asked. He's an old bastard. He has a pretty good relationship with the Tai Xianfu. That Zi Tian is cultivating at his place. That damned old bastard is extremely hateful. He actually gave the precious resources of the Tianyi Immortal Mansion to an outsider. He's a traitor. He's worse than a beast. Tengaku cursed at the mention of Huang Daji. If it wasn't for the old man's permission, I would have killed that old bastard long ago. Yang Hongwu's face also darkened. This really made people not know whether to laugh or cry. An old ancestor actually kept calling him an old bastard and an old bastard. He even wanted to kill him. However, Yang Hongwu also didn't have a good impression of the Tai Xianfu, let alone someone who had a good relationship with Zitian. Let's go. I'll see who dares to stop us. Tengaku said, if they don't hand over the person, I'll kill them all. That Zitian, I'll kill him too. Genius? So what if he's a genius? A dead genius is nothing. The group soon arrived at Huang Daji's extreme peak. When the people from Great Extreme Peak saw the heavenly annihilation god, their faces turned ugly as they ran in frantically. Master, Master, something bad has happened. That madman is here. Which madman? Huang Daji was drinking tea. When he heard his disciples' words, he was very dissatisfied. He frowned and said, don't you know that you can't disturb me when I'm drinking tea? Master, it's not that I want to disturb you. It's that madman Tengaku. He brought a group of people with him. They look very aggressive. They don't seem to have good intentions. The disciple hurriedly explained. What? Are you telling the truth? Did you see wrongly? Huang Daji was shocked when he heard that. He stood up. Who was Tengaku? He was definitely a madman. He had never been on good terms with him. If it wasn't for the leader stopping him, that madman would have already attacked Extreme Peak. Huang Daji didn't think that he could stop him. Although his strength wasn't bad, and he was an old ancestor of the Tianyi Immortal Mansion, Tengaku wasn't afraid. Old ancestor? So what if he was an old ancestor? It wasn't like he hadn't killed one before. Moreover, the old ancestor that he had killed was stronger than Huang Daji. I didn't see wrongly. They're already at the gate. The disciple said, why is this madman here? Huang Daji's face sank as he muttered to himself. The key now was to chase this madman away. He quickly took out his communication jade charm. He couldn't handle it, so he could only rely on the leader. In the Tianyi Immortal Mansion, there was only one person who could deal with him, and that was the leader. No one else could, not even the Supreme Old Ancestor, even if the Supreme Old Ancestor's cultivation was stronger than his. Leader, I'm Huang Daji. I'm in trouble now. That madman Tengaku is here. I'm afraid he's going to attack. Huang Daji said, how did you offend him? The leader frowned when he heard that. Tengaku had just gone to rescue Tian Jinyan. Could it be that Tian Jinyan's matter was related to Huang Daji? If that was the case, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to persuade him. Leader, what are you talking about? How could I offend that madman? Hearing this, Huang Daji bitterly smiled and said, it's not like you don't know that this madman can do anything. If I offend him, I might be killed by him. Leader, you should come over. This madman is probably going to attack. Wait here. I'll be right there. The situation was serious. The leader couldn't care less. He had to hurry over to prevent Huang Daji from being killed by Tengaku. Although Huang Daji was close to the Tai Xianfu, he was still a super expert. He was one of the old ancestors of the Tianyi Immortal Mansion. For the Tianyi Immortal Mansion, every old ancestor was a precious existence. They could deter other sections. If any old ancestor died, it would be a huge loss for the Tianyi Immortal Mansion. Now, there weren't many old ancestors in the Tianyi Immortal Mansion. They were much weaker than the Tai Xianfu and even fewer than the Kunlun Immortal Mansion. If one more old ancestor died, it would definitely be a huge blow to the Tianyi Immortal Mansion. At this time, Tengaku had smashed the mountain gate of the Tianyi Peak with a punch. He shouted, Huang Daji, you old bastard, get out here. Huang Daji's mouth twitched. This madman didn't give him any face. He dared to call him a bastard in front of so many people. Hateful, hateful. Chapter 588. The powerful Tengaku, you're not coming out? Tengaku was furious. If you don't come out, I'll skin you alive. Huang Daji became more and more arrogant when he heard that. Infuriating, truly infuriating. He was an old ancestor, yet he had been humiliated to such an extent. This was intolerable. He left out of the main hall. When he saw Tengaku, he coldly said, Tengaku, you've gone too far. This is not your god-slaying peak. Seeing that you're a junior, I don't plan to bicker with you. Hurry up and leave. Don't go crazy here. Aya, you old thing. Do you really want to die? A cold light flashed in Tengaku's eyes. A terrifying, killing intent spread out. The surrounding temperature immediately dropped. It was as if the air was about to freeze. You, Huang Daji pointed at Tengaku, trembling in anger. What about me? Humph, Huang Daji, I've come to find you today for one thing. Hand over that Zetian from the Tai Shinfu. He kidnapped my brother's woman. If you don't hand her over, I'll slaughter your entire Daji peak, Tengaku coldly said. Zetian. Huang Daji was extremely depressed when he heard that. He hadn't thought that this madman would come to Daji Peak because of Zetian. A few days ago, Zetian had indeed kidnapped a woman. However, he had left with her and hadn't returned yet. What woman? I've never seen her before. Besides, Zetian is Zetian. Even though he's cultivating at my place and has my guidance, his freedom is not restricted. I have no way to control him, said Huang Daji. If you're looking for your brother's woman, I don't have one here. You can leave now. Huang Daji was infuriated. That bastard Zetian. Of all the women he could find, he just had to find a woman related to this madman. Wasn't he just looking for trouble? He knew very well that the lunatic sky destroyer Celestial had always found him an eyesore and was always looking for excuses to deal with him. Now, wasn't this the same as giving him an excuse to cause trouble for him? Huang Daji cursed in his heart. However, there was nothing he could do. Now that Zetian wasn't here and that woman wasn't here, with Tengaku's personality, he was in big trouble. Daji Peak was probably going to be destroyed by him. Isn't Zetian, that little bastard, cultivating here? Isn't he being taught by you? Said Tengaku coldly. And, are you taking me for a fool? Do you think I'm a fool? Hand him over. If you don't, I'll kill you first and then go on a look for him myself. Tengaku, do you really think I'm a pushover? Huang Daji was thoroughly enraged. How could he not be angry when Tengaku kept saying that he would kill him? After all, he was a patriarch of the Qiani Immortal Mansion. How could he be killed so easily? Aya, you old bastard. You're actually angry. Good, very good. You've grown up. Let's see how much your cultivation base has improved. As he spoke, a blood-red war blade appeared in Tengaku's hand. It was Tengaku's god, vanquishing blade. Countless martialists had died to this war blade, including at least 3 patriarchs. The war blade released a terrifying, murderous aura. Tengaku's entire body seemed to have fused with the war blade. A terrifying and domineering, murderous aura erupted, causing the dust around him to swirl up and form a terrifying tornado. Kill. God vanquishing slash. With a slash of the blade, the blood-red blade light turned into a blood-red lightning bolt and charged towards Huang Daji's face. If the blade hit him, Huang Daji would probably be split into 2. Wherever the blade light went, everything cracked. A terrifying crater appeared on the ground and extended rapidly. Cracking sounds could be heard in other places as well. It was as if there were spider webs all over the ground. This was enough to show how terrifying the power beneath his feet was. Daji Mountain Seal. Huang Daji's face changed. He raised both his hands and condensed his dermic powers. They turned into a mountain and collided with the terrifying blade light. Boom! The heavens and earth shook as if the mountains and rivers were shattering and the earth was collapsing. The violent force exploded, and the entire Great Extreme Peak's entrance was blown to smithereens. Some of the nearby buildings and palaces also collapsed with a loud rumble, causing billowing smoke and dust to rise. The Sky Destroyer god shook a little, but nothing happened to him. In comparison, Huang Daji's face was pale. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and his whole body was pushed back dozens of steps before he could stop. Old bastard, are you going to speak or not? You still don't want to hand over the person? Your strength hasn't improved much. I've only used 70% of my strength. If you still don't speak, then the next move will be 100%. You won't be able to block my all-out attack. Tengaku's tone revealed great confidence. This was the confidence a powerhouse should have. Great strength was the source of this confidence. Confidence came from having great strength as a backing. Without great strength, it wasn't confidence, but excessive arrogance. Zetian isn't with me. It's useless even if you kill me, Huang Daji said helplessly. Looks like you're really not going to speak. Do you really think I won't dare to kill you? Then you're gravely mistaken. Tengaku snorted coldly. He raised the blade in his hand again and began to condense his dermic powers. Stop! Just as Tengaku's blade was about to slash down, a voice was heard. Then, a figure appeared in front of Tengaku. A hand reached out and blocked Tengaku's blade. Leader, you're still here. If I didn't come, wouldn't Martial Uncle Huang be killed by you? The leader looked at Tengaku and snorted coldly. Did he ask for it himself? I'm only here to look for someone. She's my brother's woman, and she was taken away by Zetian. Zetian is cultivating here, and he actually said that he doesn't know. Isn't this clearly playing with me? Tengaku snorted coldly. I hate people who use other people's women to threaten others. That Zetian kidnapped my brother's woman to threaten him. I can't stand it. If you don't hand over that Zetian, I won't let this go. Your brother? The leader was stunned. When did this guy have a brother? Zetian kidnapped his brother's woman? My brother, Yang Hongwu. Tengaku pointed at Yang Hongwu. Greetings, senior leader. Yang Hongwu bowed to the leader. After all, he was the leader of the Tianyi immortal abode. It was only right for him to bow. You're Yang Hongwu? Good. You're indeed a talented and heroic young man. The leader nodded when he saw Yang Hongwu. Chapter 589. The cunning Zetian, the leader, turned to Huang Daji and asked, Is that so? Huang Daji hurriedly explained, Zetian did bring a woman here a few days ago, but he left with her a day ago. I really don't know anything else. The leader frowned and said, Call Zetian here. Zetian isn't here right now. He probably went back to the Tai Xianfu. Huang Daji shook his head. So what if he's from the Tai Xianfu? I told you to call him here. Didn't you hear me? Tengaku said coldly. Shut up and shut up. Do you think I won't destroy you? Destroy the gods. The leader glanced at him. Tengaku didn't say anything else. Uncle Master, the leader said, just call Violet's guy over. Tell him that you need something from him. Yes. Huang Daji couldn't oppose the leader's decision. Though he was the leader's martial uncle, he wasn't as strong as him. Plus, his status wasn't as high either. After all, he was the leader of First Immortal Abode, the person with the highest status in the abode. If he were to go against his words, the leader would ignore Heaven Destroyer God. At that time, who knew what that madman would do? Huang Daji took out his communication jade and called Zetian. Zetian, where are you now? Martial Uncle Huang? I'm in Daling City. What's the matter? Zetian was very polite when he heard that it was Huang Daji. Although he didn't think much of this so-called martial uncle, this old man had given him a lot of benefits. Without his help, he wouldn't have been able to improve his cultivation so quickly. Besides, he still wanted to get some benefits from the Tianyi immortal abode. He naturally didn't want to offend Huang Daji. Yes, there's something. Come over immediately. Huang Daji said. That urgent? Zetian frowned and asked, Can't you wait? I have some things to deal with right now. I can't wait, Huang Daji said, shaking his head. The Chancellor came looking for you. Is that so? All right then, I'll rush over. When Zetian thought that the leader of the Tianyi Immortal Mansion was looking for him, he didn't refuse. After all, he was the leader of an immortal mansion, and he had to give face to him. If he offended the leader of the Tianyi Immortal Abode, even the ancestor of the Tai Xianfu would have to expend a lot of effort to protect him. However, he did not think that the leader of the Tianyi Immortal Mansion would harm him. He was only a junior. The leader of the Tianyi Immortal Mansion had no reason to make things difficult for him. Something good must have happened. He knew that the Tianyi Immortal Mansion once owed the patriarch of the Tai Xianfu a huge favor. That patriarch was a member of the Z family and valued him very much. That was why he allowed him to cultivate in the Tianyi Immortal Mansion for a period of time. In fact, the purpose of this was to seize the cultivation resources of the Tianyi Immortal Mansion. At the same time, it was also to show off and attack the so-called young geniuses of the Tianyi Immortal Mansion. After hanging up the communication charm, Huang Daji said, He will be here soon. He said he was in Daling City? Yang Hongwu frowned. The Ling City was not far from a Hundred Flower sect. If that guy went to the Ling City, could it be that he was going to the Hundred Flower sect and knew that Zheng Qiushuang and the others were in the Hundred Flower sect? If that was the case, that guy was too hateful. He could not be left alive. It's the Ling City. What's wrong? Brother Yang, is there a problem? Tengaku saw the change in Yang Hongwu's expression. He looked worried and hurriedly asked, "The Ling City is the only way to the Hundred Flower sect. I have 2 friends who are cultivating in the Hundred Flower sect. I'm afraid that Zetian is going to the Ling City to capture my 2 friends to deal with me." Yang Hongwu said hatefully, "You don't have to worry too much. The sect leader of the Hundred Flower sect is not weak. She's not someone who's afraid of trouble. Zetian won't succeed so easily." Tian Jinyan comforted. Seeing Yang Hongwu's reaction, the leader also said, "Yang Hongwu, you don't have to worry too much. We'll know when that Zetian arrives." Furthermore, as someone who's highly regarded by the Tai Xianfu, Zetian's character shouldn't be that bad. Furthermore, the Hundred Flower sect is not a place that can be bullied. I'm very familiar with the sect leader of the Hundred Flower sect. She's the kind of person who's very protective. She won't let anything happen to the disciples of the Hundred Flower sect. Everyone was waiting at Ling Peak, but Huang Daji was restless. If Zetian really did something to Yang Hongwu's women, Tengaku would not let him go. Even if the leader stopped him, it would not be possible. Huang Daji could only pray to the heavens that nothing bad would happen to him. About 2 hours later, a ray of light appeared in the array in Huang Daji's mountain gate. Someone was coming. A person walked out of the array. It was Zetian. "Yang Hongwu, it's you?" Zetian was very surprised when he saw Yang Hongwu. "I didn't expect you to come so quickly." "Greetings, Chancellor," he said, looking at the Chancellor standing next to Yang Hongwu and bowing respectfully. "Zetian, where's Yuji? Hand her over to me." Yang Hongwu looked at him coldly. "Haha, Yuji. She's doing very well now. She's eating well and sleeping well." Zetian laughed. Yang Hongwu's face darkened. He said coldly, "Zetian, don't go too far. If you don't hand her over, you'll stay here today. Zetian, do me a favor and hand her over." "How about it?" The leader looked at Zetian and said, "Why are you wasting time with him? Just take him down." Tengaku said loudly. His powerful aura had already locked onto Zetian. Zetian obviously felt it, but his expression was normal. He was not worried at all. "Since the leader has spoken, logically speaking, I should do you a favor. However, this is a personal grudge between Yang Hongwu and I. Back in the ancient wilderness, he stole my fiancée. The hatred for stealing my fiancée is irreconcilable. Tell me, how can I let him off so easily?" Zetian said coldly, "Humph. The hatred for stealing your fiancée? What a joke. Do they have feelings for you?" Yang Hongwu sneered, "You're just taking advantage of your power to bully others. Both of us are in love with each other, but you're taking advantage of your power to treat them as cultivation furnaces for your own cultivation. Do you think I don't know? I hate people like you the most." With that, Tengaku moved. In a flash, he appeared in front of Zetian. He grabbed Zetian's neck and said sternly, "Hand her over, or I'll kill you." Chapter 590. Unofficial disciple Mai's Hen, let him go. The leader waved his hand and said to Tengaku, "Let him go just like that?" Tengaku's face darkened. "How dare you use my brother's woman to threaten him?" Tengaku, hate such threats the most. Disciple of Tai Xianfu, you're Zetian, right? How arrogant. Tengaku, haven't been a Tai Xianfu for a long time. I didn't know that the disciples of Tai Xianfu had become so arrogant. Tengaku, I told you to let him go. Did you hear me? The leader's face darkened. Humph. Seeing his leader getting angry, Heaven Destroyer God held back a little and tossed out Violet Heaven's clone. Zetian, you won't even give me face? You don't want to let him go? The leader's tone became unfriendly. No matter what, Yang Hongwu was a disciple of Tianyi Immortal Abode. Moreover, he could see that Yang Hongwu's talent was extremely high. He wasn't inferior to Zetian at all. Moreover, Yang Hongwu was a level 7 elixir king. These were some of the things that he had learned before. If such a genius couldn't help him deal with this matter, he would probably complain about Tianyi Immortal Abode. Tianyi Immortal Abode had been suppressed by Tai Xianfu for too long. It was time for someone to support them. Ao Tianyi was indeed good, but compared to the other geniuses of Tai Xianfu, he was still lacking compared to Zetian. I can let Yuji go as long as Yang Hongwu destroys his own cultivation. Zetian said, Too much, too much. Do you really think that I don't dare to kill you? If I want to kill you, even if the old bastard of the Z family is here, I can still kill you. Hearing Zetian's words, Tengaku was furious. He moved quickly and grabbed Zetian's neck again. If you dare to kill my clone, I'll take good care of Yang Hongwu's woman. Zetian sneered. Everyone present was furious. This Zetian was too hateful. How dare he make such a demand? Even the leader was furious. Take him to Tai Xianfu. This Zetian's behavior was too much. He didn't care about the leader of Tianyi Xianfu at all. Had he known that Zetian was, he wouldn't have agreed to let him cultivate in Tianyi Xianfu, and spent so many resources Xianfu. The Chancellor looked grimly at Huang Daji. After all of the resources Violet Heaven needed for his cultivation had come from him, and he was the one who had proposed all of that. Xianfu. This damnable Zetian. This time, he has really caused me to suffer. If he wanted a woman, what kind of woman couldn't he have? As for Yang Hongwu, he was just a cultivator at the 3rd level of the Dao pedestal realm. If he wanted to deal with him, he could do so at any time. Why did he have to go against the leader like this? He didn't even give the leader any face. Wasn't this just courting death? On the other hand, he had Old Z's protection. Old Z's status was extremely high, and his strength was also extremely terrifying. He was unfathomable. In this ancient domain, there was probably no one stronger than him. Unfortunately, he had offended the leader in one fell swoop. Furthermore, the lunatic Heaven Destroyer God had never been on good terms with Lin Fan. Now that Lin Fan had offended Lin Fan, he was even more annoyed with Lin Fan. His days in the Tianyi Immortal Abode would not be easy. Wait. At this time, Yang Hongwu spoke. Leader, Master, Big Brother Tian, this is my own matter. It's not appropriate to involve the Tianyi Immortal Abode and the Tai Xianfu. Yang Hongwu knew that if the Tianyi Immortal Abode's leader went with him and brought Zetian's clone to the Tai Xianfu, things would get out of hand. At that time, it might lead to a war between the Tai Xianfu and the Tianyi Immortal Abode. If that happened, the Tianyi Immortal Abode would suffer great losses. This was not something Yang Hongwu wanted to see. Yang Hongwu's words surprised the leader. He didn't expect him to say something like this. Indeed, if he went there, it might really lead to a war between the two immortal abodes. Even if they didn't fight, the relationship between the two immortal abodes would drop to a freezing point. Moreover, the barbarian races were getting restless recently. The Bone Devil race, Ancient Nether race, and several other major races had started to take action. The great calamity of Ancient Domain was about to arrive. If the 4 immortal abodes still had conflicts with each other at this time, it might give the Devil race an opportunity to take advantage of. If the Devil race succeeded, because of this matter, it would be a great sin. However, if he couldn't help Yang Hongwu in this matter, it would make the disciples of the Tianyi Immortal Abode bitterly disappointed. One must know that as a disciple of the Tai Xianfu, Zetian had received a lot of resources from the Tianyi Immortal Abode. This already made the disciples of the Tianyi Immortal Abode very unhappy. If the matter of Zetian forcibly detaining Yang Hongwu's woman was exposed, and the Tianyi Immortal Abode's leader didn't even listen to him, if this matter was spread out, the reputation of the Tianyi Immortal Abode would plummet. What would the disciples of the Tianyi Immortal Abode think? He couldn't advance, but he couldn't retreat. He was in a dilemma. After weighing the pros and cons, the leader decided to go to the Tai Xianfu in his personal capacity. Zetian had ignored him. This was a matter of face. It doesn't matter. This time, I won't go as the leader of the Tianyi Immortal Abode. I'll go as a private person. The leader thought for a moment and said to Yang Hongwu, "Are you willing to become my disciple in name?" If he didn't go as the leader of the Tai Xianfu, then he would have to find a suitable identity and reason. If Yang Hongwu became his disciple, then it couldn't be better. It was a matter of course for a master to stand up for his disciple. Silly boy, why aren't you kowtowing to me? At this time, Tianjin was overjoyed and said to Yang Hongwu, becoming the disciple of the Tianyi Immortal Abode's leader was a good thing that all the disciples of the Tianyi Immortal Abode dreamed of. Yang Hongwu, a disciple who had just entered the Tianyi Immortal Abode, could become the leader's disciple in name. Many people would be jealous of him. Yang Hongwu also knew that the leader was trying to help him. He couldn't help but feel touched. He nodded, knelt down, and kowtowed. Disciple Yang Hongwu greets master. Good, very good. In the future, when you meet my requirements, I will accept you as an official disciple. The leader was also very happy. It was really rare to have such a satisfactory disciple. As the leader of the Tianyi Immortal Abode, he couldn't accept disciples casually. So now, he only had one disciple, and that was the first holy son of the Tianyi Immortal Abode, Ao Tianyi. He was also the strongest genius among the younger generation of the Tianyi Immortal Abode. Congratulations, leader, for accepting a good disciple. Congratulations, leader. The others bowed to the leader. Chapter 591. Leader Tai Yi's calculation in front of Tai Xianfu's mountain gate. Tai Yuanba. Here, Yang Hongwu saw a person. It was Tai Yuanba. At this time, Tai Yuanba's face was gloomy, but he saw Yang Hongwu appear. Leader Tian Yi. However, he soon saw the person beside Yang Hongwu. It was actually Leader Tian Yi. No matter how bold he was, he would not dare to be presumptuous in front of Leader Tian Yi. He bowed respectfully to Leader Tian Yi. Leader Tian Yi nodded. Yuanba. Not bad. I didn't expect you to grow so fast. A year ago, you were still at level 3 of the Divine Realm. Now, you're already at level 7 of the Divine Realm. Not bad. A year ago, Tai Yuanba's strength was only at level 1 Divine Realm, which shocked Yang Hongwu greatly. He knew about Tai Yuanba's combat strength. In the Great Snowy Mountain, Tai Yuanba was able to fight against a second-step Venerable Realm expert, the Snowy Mountain Shaking Dragon. His talent was indeed heaven-defying. However, compared to Zetian, he was still a little weaker. May I know who this is? Tai Yuanba looked at Yang Hongwu and asked. He did not know Yang Hongwu. He only knew that this guy had a lot of secrets. He even obtained the inheritance of the Lotus Great Emperor. He was only at level 3 of the Tao Foundation realm, but he ran away in front of him. This made him very unhappy. It was enough to have him as a genius. This kid was also a genius among geniuses. A person who could threaten his position. Tai Yuanba had to find a way to strangle him in the cradle. In his heart, Yang Hongwu was not the only one who made him feel uncomfortable. There was also Zetian. He did not know what kind of treasure the old ancestor of the Z family gave him, but his cultivation had improved by leaps and bounds. In just a few days, he had already reached level 5 of the Divine Realm. He estimated that he would be able to fight against Tai Yuanba in a few days. Therefore, there were 2 people in Tai Yuanba's heart that he must kill. One was Zetian, the other was Yang Hongwu. Among them, Zetian was the biggest threat to him. Yang Hongwu, my disciple, Leader Tianyi said. You're all young people. If you have time, you can have a good chat. Definitely. Junior brother Yang being able to become your disciple is truly enviable, Tai Yuanba said with a smile that hit a dagger. However, when he saw Zetian's clone behind her, he was very surprised, and his pupils shrank when he saw the person who was holding Zetian. That person was Tengaku, the madman of Tianyi Immortal Abode, the god of slaughter. However, he was Tai Yuanba's idol, and also the person Tai Yuanba was determined to surpass. Of course, what he was curious about was why Zetian was detained by Tengaku. Did she offend Tengaku? If they offended the madman Tengaku, then Zetian would suffer. This madman didn't care who was behind you. If you offended him, he would kill you at all costs. Back then, he had killed the 2 old ancestors of Tianyi Immortal Abode and Tai Xianfu. Seeing Zetian's appearance, Tai Yuanba was very happy. Isn't this junior brother Zetian? What's wrong? What kind of heinous thing have you done? Tai Yuanba mocked. Tai Yuanba, This has nothing to do with you. You'd better not provoke me, Zetian said coldly. Tai Yuanba had always been at odds with him and always targeted him. Of course, he knew that. If it was before, when he wasn't strong enough, Zetian would have avoided him. But now his strength had increased. He didn't put Tai Yuanba in his eyes at all. If he wanted to fight with him, then he wouldn't mind killing him. Aha! You offended Senior Tengaku. Even old Ancestor Z may not be able to protect you. Tai Yuanba laughed. He didn't care about Zetian's threat at all. Zetian snorted coldly and didn't say anything. Brother Tai Yuanba, please forgive me for not welcoming you. It's really a sin. At this time, the door opened and a fat old man walked out. This fat old man was the leader of Tai Xianfu, the leader of the four great immortal abode. The leader of Tianyi immortal abode was called Leader Tianyi. The leader of Tai Xianfu was called Leader Tai. The leader of Kunlun immortal abode was called Leader Kunlun. Similarly, the leader of Sea God immortal abode was called Leader Sea God. As the saying goes, one doesn't hit a smiling person. Since Leader Tai was like this, Leader Tianyi naturally couldn't get angry directly. I'm sorry for being presumptuous, Leader Tianyi said. Please come in. Everyone, please come in. The Greater One leader had a smile on his face, as if he didn't see that Zetian had been escorted over. This made Zetian a little dissatisfied, but he didn't dare to say anything. Of course, he kept his hatred in his heart. Zetian was the kind of person who would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. Leader Tai's actions made him uncomfortable. Zetian's backer was the patriarch of the Z family, who was also the strongest patriarch of Tai Xianfu. With him around, he wouldn't be afraid of this leader. In the end, the real person in charge of Tai Xianfu wasn't Leader Tai, but the patriarch of the Z family. The group of people quickly entered the reception hall. At this time, Leader Tai looked at Leader Tianyi and said, I wonder why Brother Tianyi is here? Why did you arrest the disciple of Tai Xianfu, Zetian? It's like this. Back then, Tianyi Immortal Abode owed the patriarch of the Z family a favor. He asked Zetian to come to Tianyi Immortal Abode to cultivate. Everyone knows about this matter. This is nothing. Tianyi Immortal Abode agreed to return the favor. There's nothing wrong with that. However, Zetian did something that made my heart ache. Leader Tianyi said, Brother Tai, you should know that I only have one disciple in my life, which is Ao Tianyi. Now, I've finally accepted another disciple, which is Yang Hongwu. He came from the ancient desolate continent and has a little grudge with Zetian. I didn't expect that Zetian would capture my disciple's woman to threaten him. He wanted him to cripple his own cultivation before letting him in. He didn't even give me face, so I could only capture his clone and ask Brother Tai for an explanation. Leader Tai's face darkened. He said, Zetian, is this true? Leader Tai was happy. Zetian was someone that the patriarch of the Z family valued. Now that Zetian didn't give face to Leader Tianyi and slap Tianyi Immortal Abode's face, Leader Tianyi would definitely not let it go. However, the patriarch of the Z family was a protective person. In this way, the patriarch of the Z family would fight with Tianyi Immortal Abode. At that time, Leader Tianyi could benefit from it. As the leader of Tai Xianfu, he didn't have the highest authority in Tai Xianfu. He had to act according to the mood of others. This had always been a thorn in Leader Tai's heart. It was very difficult to get rid of this thorn. The patriarch of the Z family's strength was too terrifying and unfathomable. He didn't even know what level the patriarch of the Z family's cultivation had reached. He didn't dare to act rashly. If he really did, Leader Tai had no confidence at all. Chapter 592. Exchanging hostages, it's only right and proper to take revenge. He once stole my woman. What's wrong with me stealing his woman? Zetian said coldly. You, Zetian, what's with your attitude? The Tai leader almost choked and said angrily. It's the truth, Zetian said coldly. You, the Tai leader took a deep breath and said, do you think no one can stop you just because you have Ancestor Z as your backer? Zetian sneered and said, Leader, are you the leader of the Tai Xianfu, or the leader of the Tianyi Immortal Mansion? You're actually speaking for the Tianyi Immortal Mansion? I've learned something new. Zetian is right. Dong Lin, I don't think you're a competent leader. At this time, an old voice came from afar. Zetian's original body and the ancestor of the Z family slowly walked over. Dong Lin was the Tai leader's original name. After he became the Tai leader, no one called him Dong Lin. He didn't expect the ancestor of the Z family to still call him by this name. The Tai leader's face darkened. The Tai leader didn't say anything, but his face darkened. Release Zetian's doppelganger. The ancestor of the Z family looked at Tengaku holding Zetian's doppelganger. His tone was calm, but there was a sense of majesty in it. Oh, old man, do you think I'll release him just because you want me to? Tell Zetian to release my brother's woman first. Otherwise, I'll not only kill his doppelganger, but also his original body, Tengaku said coldly. Tengaku didn't care about this old man at all. Although this old man's strength was unfathomable, and he might not be a match for him, Tengaku still didn't care about this old man. You're challenging my authority. The ancestor of the Z family narrowed his eyes and stared at Tengaku. Tengaku felt as if he was being stared at by an ancient fierce beast. Challenge? So what if I'm challenging you? Tengaku said coldly. Others might be afraid of you, but I'm not. Tengaku, even dare to destroy gods. Why would I be afraid of you? Shut up, Godslayer. At this moment, the leader of the Tianyi sect spoke up. He looked at the patriarch of the Z family and said, Senior, please forgive him. This Bastard is just like this. He says whatever he wants to say and doesn't know any manners. I hope you don't mind. The face of the old ancestor of the Z family was extremely gloomy. Tengaku, back then, I was in seclusion and didn't deal with you. Today, you came to provoke me again. Do you really think I can't do anything to you? The patriarch of the Z clan said in a deep voice. As he said that, his terrifying aura condensed into a long spear. With a whoosh, the long spear shot towards Tengaku. Tengaku chuckled, grabbed Zetian's doppelganger, and lifted him in front of him to block the spear. The old ancestor of the Z family snorted and waved his hand. The long spear disappeared an inch away from the forehead of Zetian's clone. The atmosphere of the scene became more and more tense. Aha! Old man, you're very strong. I admit that I'm not your match. But now, if you want to make a move, you have to consider him. Tengaku patted Zetian's doppelganger and chuckled. What do you want? The patriarch of the Z family asked. Let him release my brother's woman. Tengaku said, If you let her go, I will naturally let her go. Zetian, bring her out. The patriarch of the Z family said. Yes. Zetian looked at Yang Hongwu with a cold light in his eyes. He waved his hand and had someone bring Yuji out. Yuji, Yang Hongwu are here. Seeing Yang Hongwu, Yuji's eyes flashed with surprise. However, her face soon darkened. She didn't help him with anything. Instead, she caused him trouble. However, seeing his great progress and achievements, she was sincerely happy for him. Well, I'm sorry to make you suffer, Yang Hongwu said. The person you want is here. Let her go. Let her go together, Tengaku said. Zetian let go of Yuji, and Tengaku also let go of Zetian's doppelganger. After Yuji was free, she quickly ran to Yang Hongwu's side. She's poisoned. Sherbauer in Yang Hongwu's spiritual abode reminded him at this time. Poison. Yang Hongwu's face darkened. He didn't expect Zetian to poison him. Hateful, really hateful. What kind of poison is it? Is there a way to detoxify it? This poison won't do any harm to her, but if you have sex with her, it will be transferred to your body, causing your cultivation to stagnate. There's no way to improve it, and it may even drop, Sherbauer said. Vicious, this move was really vicious. Yang Hongwu couldn't help but admire Zetian. This bastard really had a lot of tricks up his sleeves. He probably already knew what was going to happen today. Maybe he deliberately let Lin Fan catch his doppelganger. But he didn't expect Lin Fan to have Sherbauer's help to see through his scheme and discover the poison. There's a way to detoxify it, but it's not something that can be done in a short time. Is there an antidote? Yang Hongwu asked. If Zetian had the antidote, he could think of a way to snatch it from Zetian. Of course, it was impossible now. This was the Tai Xianfu's headquarters. If they really fought, there was no way he could gain the upper hand. There's no antidote for this kind of poison. It can only be forced out through the power of yin and yang. You happen to have the power of yin and yang in your body. If it were anyone else, there would be no way to detoxify this poison, Shi Bowers said. He would remember this grudge. Tai Xianfu, Zi Tian, and the patriarch of the Zi family. He would definitely teach them a lesson in the future. Although Yang Hongwu knew that Yuji had been poisoned, he didn't spread the news because it was meaningless. Even if he spread the news, there was no antidote. But fortunately, he had a way to detoxify this poison. Let's go. Leader Zi looked at Yang Hongwu and saw him nod. Yang Hongwu. At this time, Zi Tian called out to him. Yang Hongwu stopped and looked at him. Zi Tian, if there's a chance, I'll kill you. Haha, you're not strong enough. In 2 months, the ranking battle of the 4 major immortal mansions will be held. At that time, I'll kill you with my own hands to take revenge for what happened in the ancient Desolation Continent. Zi Tian laughed. But I hope you'll still be alive by then. Don't worry. I won't die before you die, Yang Hongwu said coldly. He had the battle spirit possession. Once the battle spirit possession took effect, his strength would skyrocket. Moreover, he didn't know what would happen in 2 months. Zi Tian must be killed. As for 2 months, Yang Hongwu really didn't want to wait that long. 2 months would bring too many changes. Chapter 593. Bitter fate lovers seeing the leader of Tian leave without a real conflict. The leader of Tai was a little disappointed. However, it wasn't that he didn't gain anything. At least, he could see that Zi Tian and Yang Hongwu were sworn enemies. Either one of them died or the other died. Zi Tian was a member of the Zi family and was valued by the patriarch of the Zi family, while Yang Hongwu was the disciple of the leader of Tian. If the two of them fought, one of them would die. At that time, the two of them would not be able to escape a battle. On the way back to Tian Immortal Mansion, on the warship, Yang Hongwu and Yuji were in a room. Big Demon, I'm sorry I came late and made you suffer. Yang Hongwu hugged Yuji and patted her back, saying softly, No, you came in time. I'm the one who dragged you down. Yuji knew that Yang Hongwu was able to make the leader of Tian Immortal Mansion and a big shot like Tenga could take action. This was a huge favor. In this world, a debt of gratitude was the most difficult to repay. What burden? You're my woman. Moreover, it's because of me that you were captured by Zi Tian. Yang Hongwu said, By the way, what did Zi Tian give you to eat? You were poisoned by him. Poisoned? Yuji's expression changed. No, I haven't eaten anything these 2 days. Your body is indeed poisoned. This poison is incurable, Yang Hongwu said. Yuji's expression changed. Incurable? You don't have to worry too much. Although there's no cure, I can force the poison out of your body. Yang Hongwu hurriedly explained when he saw her like this. What kind of poison am I poisoned with? Yuji asked. Yang Hongwu was stunned for a moment before he said, This poison, is actually targeted at me. It won't harm you at all. On the contrary, it will be helpful for your cultivation. Do you feel that the magic power in your body is running much smoother than before? Much faster? Yuji nodded. Previously, her cultivation was sealed, so she didn't feel it. But now, after the seal was unsealed, she could feel it. She thought it was because of Yang Hongwu. It's not harmful to me. It's helpful. In fact, it's targeted at you. What kind of poison is this? Yuji asked. Bitter Fate Mandarin Duck. This poison is called Bitter Fate Mandarin Duck. Yang Hongwu sighed and said, If it were other people, they wouldn't be able to do anything about it. If I didn't have the 9 dragons, saintly body, and the power of yin and yang, the poison in your body would have been transferred to my body when I practiced dual cultivation with you. My cultivation would have stagnated or even regressed. The most important thing is that it would continue to devour my vitality, making me feel my life slowly draining away, but I have no way to do anything about it until I die. What a terrifying poison. Yuji's expression changed when she heard this. Then how can this poison be removed? She didn't want Yang Hongwu to be harmed by this terrifying poison. If that was the case, She would rather not see Yang Hongwu for the rest of her life. Don't worry. I said that this poison is not a problem for me, but it will take some time. Yang Hongwu said, if it doesn't work, I would rather be separated from you. I would rather die than let you get hurt. Yuji looked at Yang Hongwu and said in a serious tone, no, great demoness. I still remember what I said back then. Let's see if you were a little man. I will make you unable to get out of bed all day. Yang Hongwu hugged her and kissed her on the cheek, chuckling. You pervert. You only know how to think about those messy things. Yuji's face turned red. She charmingly rolled her eyes at Yang Hongwu and said, this expression made Yang Hongwu's whole body go limp. A great demoness was indeed a great demoness. I wonder who's the pervert. Back then, a certain great demoness drugged me. And then, before Yang Hongwu could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Yuji. She flew into a rage out of humiliation and pounced on Yang Hongwu, saying coquettishly, I'll let you say it. I'll let you say it, I didn't. Ha! Yang Hongwu laughed loudly. The two of them were in a mess. It was a pity that Yuji was poisoned and didn't get rid of it. Otherwise, he would definitely let the great demoness have a good taste of his power and fulfill his promise. The next day, the battleship returned to Tianyi Immortal Mansion. Seeing Yang Hongwu and Yuji come out, Tengaku had a smile on his face, but the leader of Tianyi said seriously, young people, you have to control yourself. Your body is important, and your cultivation is the most important. Yang Hongwu and Yuji's faces turned red. On the other hand, Gao Qingqing looked at Yuji with some dissatisfaction and a hint of jealousy. Haha, I didn't expect the leader to know how to joke. This is rare. Tengaku laughed. He had always been a serious leader, but he had never seen such a side to him. Even Tian Jinyun and the others couldn't help but laugh. Master, we didn't do anything. Yang Hongwu explained. There's no need to explain this. If you explain, it'll be a cover-up. Besides, this is normal. Couples haven't met for a long time. When they meet, of course, they have to catch up and cultivate their feelings. I've been there, so I understand this very well. Tengaku patted Yang Hongwu on the shoulder and said, I support you. If I hadn't been born so many years earlier, I would definitely compete with you for a beauty like sister-in-law. After a pause, he said, by the way, look at me, I forgot to give you a gift. Tengaku patted his head. After thinking for a while, he took a jade pendant from his waist and handed it to Yuji, saying, sister-in-law, I don't have anything good. This jade pendant is a meeting gift. Take it. This is the soul-nourishing jade. Yang Hongwu was shocked when he saw the jade pendant. The soul-nourishing jade was definitely a treasure. It was not inferior to the best fairy weapon. The most precious thing about it was that it could nourish the soul. Even if the soul was scattered and only a trace of it was left, it could be recovered with the soul-nourishing jade. This showed how precious this thing was. Brother, this is too expensive. You can't accept it. Yang Hongwu said, go away. What does it have to do with you? This is a meeting gift for sister-in-law. You're a man, and I'm not giving it to you. Why are you making trouble? Tengaku glared at him and said unhappily. Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly. Tengaku's character was clear to Yang Hongwu. He was willing to sacrifice himself for his friends and brothers. However, he was cruel and merciless to his enemies. It was his blessing to have such a person as a friend and brother. Brother, Hongwu is right. This soul-nourishing jade is too precious. You can't accept it. You should keep it for yourself. Maybe you can use it in the future. Yuji also knew about the soul-nourishing jade. It was indeed very precious. In the entire ancient domain, there were less than 3 pieces. It was extremely rare. Chapter 594. Yin-Yang coiling dragon grass a few days later. The news that the leader of Tianyi had taken in a disciple named Yang Hongwu had spread throughout the entire Immortal Mansion. It was rumored that the leader had even made a trip to Tai Xianfu for this disciple. Because of this, he had fallen out with the Tai Xianfu and even chased away the Tai Xianfu Zitian. In an instant, Yang Hongwu had become a celebrity in the Tianyi Immortal Mansion. Almost everyone knew his name. Many people were very jealous of this. This person named Yang Hongwu was a nobody. They had never heard of him. How could he become the leader's disciple? This made many people unhappy, and many people envied him. Therefore, many people wanted to find trouble with Yang Hongwu. However, most of them were stopped. Why? That was because Yang Hongwu's residence was on the god-destroying peak. What kind of place was the god-slaying peak? It was the main peak of the Tianyi immortal mansion's god of slaughter, Tengaku. No one dared to cause trouble there. Otherwise, if they angered Tengaku, only death would await them. Tengaku didn't care about rules when he killed people. He had even killed patriarchs before. What did killing a few disciples count for? Therefore, Yang Hongwu's life was very peaceful these days. Of course, the main reason was to expel the poison from Yuji. On this day, Yang Hongwu prepared to find a medicinal herb. This would be very helpful in expelling the poison from Yuji. Without this herb, the speed would be much slower. Of course, Yang Hongwu wanted to be as fast as possible. Also, he was very worried about Zhang Qiushuang and Hu Xiuer's safety. The Zetian wouldn't let them go. At this point, Yang Hongwu's heart was like a mirror. Yang Hongwu wasn't very familiar with the Tianyi immortal mansion. The one who led him, there was a maid he had just taken in, Gu Shaoxian. Gu Shaoxian had been by Yang Hongwu's side these days, taking care of Yang Hongwu meticulously, which made Yuji jealous. However, she didn't say anything because she was clear about Yang Hongwu's situation. Yang Hongwu had the 9 dragon saint body and cultivated the 9 cycles of Yin and Yang secret art. He needed a woman with a pure Yin immortal body to cultivate. Otherwise, his body would explode and he would die. Of course, Yuji only found out about these things later. It was Yang Hongwu who told her. Gu Shaoxian, the maid, was a pure Yin immortal physique. In addition, she had signed a contract with Yang Hongwu. She was destined to be Yang Hongwu's woman and could not run away. Therefore, even if she was a little jealous, she would not say much. Instead, she urged Yang Hongwu to take in Gu Shaoxian as soon as possible. In this way, Yang Hongwu's strength would be further improved and he would not be in danger of exploding in a short time. The higher Yang Hongwu's cultivation, the safer he would be because Yang Hongwu's current enemies were not weak. Not to mention the Zetian, there was the Bone Devil clan and the Ancient Nether clan. These were all barbarians with the bloodline of the Devil clan. Therefore, Yang Hongwu was now in an extremely dangerous situation. If he was in the Tianyi immortal mansion, there was no need to worry. However, once he was out of the Tianyi immortal mansion, it would be different. Perhaps all kinds of trouble would come. As the saying goes, it's easier to dodge an open spear than an arrow in the dark. Even if Yang Hongwu had the battle spirit possession and the chinchilla, Yuji was still very worried. However, Yang Hongwu had not taken any action. She was also anxious and couldn't wait to take action. Women's thoughts were very strange, especially when facing their beloved. Their feelings were very complicated. Gu Shaoxian also faintly felt this. She didn't know why, but she didn't have a good impression of Yang Hongwu before. However, recently, she found that Yang Hongwu seemed to be becoming more and more attractive. Every time she got too close, her heart would beat faster and her face would become hot. Moreover, she also faintly understood Yuji's thoughts. She actually wanted Yang Hongwu to take her in. Even though Gu Shaoxian was already mentally prepared, she was still somewhat resistant. However, seeing Yang Hongwu not taking action, she was somewhat disappointed. The two came to the alchemy department. In the alchemy department, there were most of the medicinal materials, pills, and so on. Yang Hongwu didn't care about pills. He could refine them himself, and all of them would be of perfect quality. What he wanted were medicinal materials, a type of spirit medicine called the yin-yang coiling dragon grass. This was a 7th grade spirit medicine and was very rare. Yang Hongwu didn't know if he had it or not. He only came here to try his luck. If he couldn't find it, then he would have to go outside. It's here. Let's go in. Gu Shaoxian brought Yang Hongwu to the alchemy department's market. Of course, the majority of the transactions were spirit medicines, pills, pill recipes, and so on. They were all related to alchemy. There was an endless stream of people coming and going here. Seeing Gu Shaoxian, many people greeted her. Gu Shaoxian was the eldest senior sister of the Heavenly Spirit Peak. The Heavenly Spirit Peak was a peak that only accepted female disciples. Moreover, every female disciple on the Heavenly Spirit Peak was as beautiful as a flower. They were the targets of many disciples. Gu Shaoxian was undoubtedly one of the best. However, her relationship with Jioshan was not shallow. Due to Jioshan's prestige, many people didn't dare to have any ideas about her. Even if they had thoughts about Gu Shaoxian, they didn't dare to say it out loud. Today, Gu Shaoxian came out with a man. Moreover, they looked very intimate. This made everyone feel very strange. Didn't Gu Shaoxian have a good relationship with Jioshan? Wasn't she worried that Jioshan would be angry? Wasn't that man afraid? Jioshan was famous for being domineering. When it came to Gu Shaoxian and Gao Qingqing, any man who approached them would either be crippled by him or mysteriously disappear. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that these things were definitely done by Jioshan. Do you have yin yang coiling dragon grass here? Yang Hongwu came to the market and asked. Yin yang coiling dragon grass? I don't have it here. There shouldn't be any in the entire Tianyi immortal mansion. The person shook his head. However, there is news of yin yang coiling dragon grass. Do you want it? Yes. Yang Hongwu nodded. 10,000 spiritual stones. Yang Hongwu's eyes widened. 10,000 spiritual stones? What the fuck? This wasn't 10,000 spiritual stones. This was too expensive. It was just news. I say, senior brother, isn't 10,000 spiritual stones too expensive? Yang Hongwu said. Do you take us for fools? Gu Shaoxian said coldly. Of course not. Junior sister Gu, how would I dare to cheat you? This news of yin yang coiling dragon grass is indeed worth 10,000 spiritual stones. Everyone knows how precious it is. Furthermore, other than me, no one else in the entire Tianyi immortal mansion knows about it. The person said, 10,000 spiritual stones it is. Yang Hongwu had no other choice. The yin-yang coiling dragon grass was too important. There was no other way. Even if he was cheated, he still had to buy it. Chapter 595. Jealousy makes trouble. Yang Hongwu's heart sank when he heard that. Tian Xinlong was also looking for the yin-yang coiling dragon grass. He was a powerful opponent. If he didn't use the battle spirit possession, he wouldn't be a match for Tian Xun. However, he couldn't use the battle spirit possession so casually. It consumed too much energy because Ying Xiaorui was at the second level of the Venerable Realm. Once she used it, the burden on him would be too great. Therefore, Yang Hongwu wouldn't use the battle spirit possession unless it was absolutely necessary. However, he had to get the yin-yang coiling dragon grass no matter what. No matter how difficult it was, no matter who his opponent was. After collecting the map, Yang Hongwu and Gu Shaoxian prepared to leave to search for the yin-yang coiling dragon grass. However, they were stopped by someone when they reached the door. The person looked at Yang Hongwu and said coldly, You're Yang Hongwu, the new in-name disciple of the leader? Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. This guy was coming for him. That's me. Who are you? Yang Hongwu didn't have time to waste on him. I don't know you. I have something to do right now. Get out of my way. I'm Ma Yunhao. What makes you the leader's in-name disciple? Ma Yunhao said, Let me see if you're qualified. It's Ma Yunhao. No wonder the man with Gu Shaoxian is actually the unofficial disciple of the leader, Yang Hongwu, who has been the talk of the town recently. There's going to be a good show to watch. Ma Yunhao's talent is extremely good. He has always wanted to become the Overlord's disciple, but who would have thought that the Overlord would not accept him? Instead, he would accept this unknown Yang Hongwu as his disciple. I'm afraid he's unhappy about it. Yeah, after waiting for so many years, there's no result at all. Anyone would feel uncomfortable if they were in his shoes. I think Yang Hongwu is going to be miserable this time. It's not that simple. One of the disciples shook his head and said, Since this Yang Hongwu was able to catch the leader's eye and become his honorary disciple, how could he be so simple? I'm afraid the outcome of this battle is still unknown. Ma Yunhao, don't cause trouble. Get out of the way. We have important things to do. You can't afford to be delayed. At this moment, Gu Shaoxian frowned. She stood out and looked at Ma Yunhao. Gu Shaoxian, this has nothing to do with you. Get out of my way. Don't think that you can be arrogant just because Tian Shinjio is protecting you. Let me tell you, even if Tian Shinjio comes, I won't be afraid. This battle with Yang Hongwu is inevitable. I want to show the leader who the most outstanding genius is. Ma Yunhao said loudly. He unsheathed his saber and pointed it at Yang Hongwu. If you're a man, then come with me to the arena. You can go. I have something to do now, so I can't go to the sparring field with you. To Yang Hongwu, finding the yin-yang coiling dragon grass was more important than fighting with him. What benefits could he get from fighting with him? None at all. It would only be a waste of time. You must fight with me today. Ma Yunhao wouldn't let Yang Hongwu leave. He blocked his way again. The saber in his hand was placed on Yang Hongwu's neck. Yang Hongwu squinted his eyes. This guy really doesn't know when to stop. I'll say it again. Get out of my way. No, unless you can defeat me, I won't step aside. Ma Yunhao was an extremely stubborn person. When he entered the Tianyi Immortal Manor, his extraordinary talent shocked the entire place. Many elders and even old ancestors were tempted to accept him as a disciple. However, he rejected all of them. He wanted to be the leader's disciple. His imagination was beautiful, but reality was cruel. His talent and cultivation weren't bad, but he didn't get the leader's approval. He couldn't become the leader's disciple. However, he didn't give up. He kept working hard, hoping to get the leader's approval and become the leader's disciple. However, he didn't expect that a few days ago, there would be news that the leader had accepted another disciple. This disciple was only at the 3rd level of the Tao pedestal realm. He was much weaker than him, and his talent wasn't that amazing. This made him very unhappy, and the fire of jealousy burned fiercely. Therefore, he wanted to prove himself. He wanted to prove that he was the most qualified person to become the leader's disciple. He thought that as long as he defeated his opponent, he would be able to prove this point. Then, the leader would look at him differently and accept him as a disciple. What made him depressed was that Yang Hongwu hadn't come out of the God-slaying peak. What kind of place was the God-slaying peak? No matter how strong he was, he didn't dare to go there. That madman in the God-slaying peak killed without blinking an eye. Ma Yunhao didn't dare to go there either. He could only wait outside. After waiting for a few days, he finally got the news that Yang Hongwu had come out of the God-slaying peak. As soon as he got the news, he rushed over from his cultivation. Don't worry, I will suppress my cultivation to the same level as you. Ma Yunhao was very confident. At the same level, no one was his match. Even the leader's personal disciple, Ao Tianyi, couldn't be stronger than him. In his opinion, he was the most outstanding genius of the Tianyi Immortal Abode. The number 1 genius, Ao Tianyi, had only started cultivating 2 years earlier than him. His cultivation was just a bit higher than his. Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly at this kind of person who thought too highly of himself. This guy probably hadn't met a real opponent all this time. He hadn't tasted defeat. Jealousy made him lose a string in his brain. One move. Yang Hongwu stretched out his hand. If I suppress my cultivation, you won't be able to block one move of mine. What a joke. I won't be able to block one move of yours? Ma Yunhao, am a true genius. Even if Ao Tianyi is at the same level as me, he won't be my match. Ma Yunhao was enraged. I want to see what kind of strength you have to say such arrogant words. Ma Yunhao's 9 profound berserk saint physique was very abnormal. Once it was activated, it could explode out several times his combat strength. Activating the 1st level could double his combat strength. Activating the 2nd level could quadruple his combat strength. Activating the 9th level could allow him to explode out with 512 times his combat strength. Now that he had activated the 4th level, he could explode out with 16 times his combat strength. At the same level, no one could be stronger than him. He was very confident about this. Chapter 596. 10,000 dragons. Valiang Hongwu snorted and said, "Take this. Stun God Finger, stun ghosts and gods." His magic power condensed into a finger. This finger was filled with a mysterious power that could cause ghosts and gods to retreat. It was extremely mysterious and incomparably powerful. With the finger as the center, the surrounding space was shattered by the terrifying power. The finger seemed to have come from the ancient void and attacked Ma Yunhao. The power of the finger was so powerful that it seemed like it could pierce through the heavens and earth. What kind of power is that? It's too terrifying. Everyone was shocked. It's too terrifying. It's an emperor technique. It must be an emperor technique. Only an emperor technique can be so terrifying. No wonder he could become the disciple of the leader. I didn't expect him to have comprehended an emperor technique. What was an emperor technique? It was a supreme power that ordinary people couldn't comprehend. Even if they were given an emperor technique, they wouldn't be able to get the recognition of the emperor technique and comprehend it. To comprehend an emperor technique, one needed not only talent, but also luck. How is this possible? How can you be so powerful? How can you have an emperor technique? I don't believe it. Ma Yunhao, am the strongest, the most outstanding genius, the #1 genius of the Tianyi Immortal Mansion, the strongest genius of the ancient domain. 9 mysterious berserk, sacred body, open. Yang Hongwu's strength was so terrifying that it was far beyond the level 3 Dao Foundation realm. Even a level 3 Divine Realm expert wouldn't be a match for him. Exploding God Kill. Ma Yunhao roared and slashed out with his saber. The saber was filled with violent power. It was like a berserk god of death that could destroy all enemies. Rumble. The ground was swept up. The berserk power caused the surrounding people to be blown off their feet. Yang Hongwu's power was mysterious and was filled with an ancient aura. As for this move of Ma Yunhao, it was filled with a berserk power that could break through everything. Bang! The two terrifying forces collided. The giant finger pierced through the saber light and heavily struck Ma Yunhao's body. Ma Yunhao's entire body was sent flying, and he crashed heavily into a stone pillar in the distance. Although this attack was powerful, it wasn't able to hurt Ma Yunhao. After all, Ma Yunhao's cultivation was very strong. He was a level 4 Divine Realm cultivator. Coupled with the protection of his armor, this amount of power wasn't enough to hurt him. Of course, if Yang Hongwu had unleashed his full combat strength, even without using the battle spirit possession, it would have been enough to break through his defense and injure him. I actually lost. Ma Yunhao muttered to himself. He couldn't believe that he had actually failed. He was not Yang Hongwu's opponent, even though they were in the same realm. This was a huge blow to him. All along, he had been very confident that no one in the same realm was his opponent. However, Yang Hongwu had given him a huge lesson, letting him know that there was always someone better than him. Ma Yunhao lost. That Yang Hongwu is so strong. I'm afraid that Ao Tianyi has found his match. Impossible. Ao Tianyi's strength is far beyond Yang Hongwu's. You should know that his cultivation is only at level 3 Dao Foundation Realm. It will take him another 3 to 4 years to enter the Divine Realm. A disciple said, "That's not necessarily true." Another disciple said, "If the leader uses a large amount of resources to cultivate Yang Hongwu, his strength will increase by leaps and bounds. At that time, once Yang Hongwu enters the Divine Realm, his strength will soar to the sky." Did you notice that Yang Hongwu didn't consume anything when he used that move? In other words, he might be able to use such a terrifying attack several times in a row. Another disciple said, "His combat strength is terrifying. Once he grows up, I'm afraid that no one will be his opponent. If I'm not wrong, his finger technique shouldn't be limited to this. There should be more powerful moves in the future. The first move is already so terrifying. The following moves will be even more shocking. Maybe he hasn't shown his trump card yet. Rumor has it that the leader almost fought with the Tai Xianfu for him. It's obvious that he has a high position in the leader's heart. I guess he hasn't revealed his true trump card yet. His talent is probably not weaker than that Zetian. It's a pity that his current cultivation is still too low. Anyway, Ma Yunhao has lost a lot of face this time. Not only did he fail to find trouble, but he was also defeated by someone whose strength is so much lower than him. I'm afraid he won't be able to raise his head again. At this time, Yang Hongwu had already walked away. He didn't care about these people's discussion at all. This time, the reason why he used one of his trump cards, the Jingxin finger, to defeat Ma Yunhao was to make an example of him. Otherwise, he would be in a lot of trouble in the future in the Tianyi Immortal Mansion. If so many people came to find trouble with him every day, how would he have the time to cultivate? You didn't have a fight with him at all, Gu Shaoxian said. Yang Hongwu smiled and said, in fact, I did this to make an example of him, and he's that chicken. Many people will be dissatisfied with me becoming the leader's in-name disciple. If I don't do anything, they'll think that I'm a pushover. If that's the case, I'm afraid that I'll face endless trouble in the future. After leaving the alchemy department, Yang Hongwu took out a map and looked at it. 10,000 Dragon Valley. What kind of place is that? Yang Hongwu looked at the map. He had never heard of this place. However, Gu Xiaoshuan's expression changed when she heard the name. 10,000 Dragon Valley is too dangerous. Dangerous? What kind of place is 10,000 Dragon Valley? Is it more dangerous than the skeletal village? Recently, Yang Hongwu had experienced many dangers. He almost couldn't get out of the skeletal village. Later, he encountered the skeletal devil crown prince and defeated him with great difficulty. He didn't expect to encounter the ancient Nether clan. Fortunately, Tengaku arrived in time. Otherwise, he would have been captured by the ancient Nether clan. 10,000 Dragon Valley is called 10,000 Dragon Valley, but it's actually a den of snakes and not ordinary snakes. Gu Shaoxian said, there are millions of poisonous snakes in 10,000 Dragon Valley, and a few of them are powerful Jiao dragons. Even the ancestors of the 4 great immortal mansion don't dare to enter. Even if they go, they'll only be in the periphery. They won't dare to go deep. Chapter 597. The Birth of a Divine Dragon. There are definitely powerful savage beasts. The Jiao Dragon and the Snake King are all powerful savage beasts. They are all level 8 and above. Their strength is terrifying. Gu Shaoxian said, moreover, the depths of the valley is like a maze. It's full of twists and turns, and there are countless passages. It's impossible to figure out the direction. So difficult? This was a huge problem for Yang Hongyu. If he couldn't solve this problem, he would probably die. Forget it. I'll take one step at a time. If it doesn't work, I'll leave and come back. Yang Hongyu thought for a while and said, at worst, he could use some of his items to auction or buy a yin-yang coiling dragon grass. There was no such thing in the Tianyi Immortal Mansion, but it didn't mean that there was no such thing in the ancient domain. There would always be someone who would have it. If it didn't work, he would go to the Jade Pill sect. Moreover, Ran Shaoling had gone to the Jade Pill sect. When the time came, he could ask her for help. Ran Shaoling and the others entered the Jade Pill sect and 100 Flower sect with the token of the Talisman Emperor. Naturally, they wouldn't treat them badly. After all, the Talisman Emperor was a great emperor. It was equivalent to a favor from a great emperor. It was definitely valuable. Let's go, Yang Hongyu said. Gu Shaoxian said, we still need to prepare some other things. There are millions of snakes in the valley. Therefore, we need to have something to deal with them. For example, Realgar. This thing is indispensable. Although it has no effect on serpent savage beasts above level 7, it's a great deterrent to serpent savage beasts below level 7. In this way, we can save a lot of trouble. In addition, we need to prepare some antidote for snake venom. Yang Hongyu nodded. Indeed, he didn't consider this thoroughly. Serpents below level 7 were weak and didn't have strong combat strength. However, if there were too many of them, they would be very annoying. As the saying goes, ants can bite an elephant to death. If one was surrounded by thousands or even millions of poisonous snakes, it would be really difficult to escape unless one used a teleportation talisman. However, using a teleportation talisman in the valley was also very dangerous. If he was not careful and was teleported into an even more terrifying snake cave, it would be troublesome. No matter what, there was nothing wrong with being prepared, just in case. As for the antidote, although he didn't need it, Gu Shaoxian needed it. He was immune to all poisons, but Gu Shaoxian wasn't. He still had to think for her. Half a day later, everything was ready. Yang Hongyu and Gu Shaoxian set foot on the road to 10,000 Dragons Valley. The 10,000 Dragons Valley was very far away from the Tianyi Immortal Mansion. It was in the Divine Dragon Mountain Range. Rumor had it that the Divine Dragon Mountain Range was formed after a divine dragon died. As for the 10,000 Dragons Valley, It was the entrance to the dragon's head. The entire 10,000 Dragons Valley was, in fact, the insides of the mystical dragon's body. Because the mystical dragon's body was huge, the blood vessels and meridians in its body were huge. It was like a huge and developed network. This network was like a huge maze. Once one entered, it would be difficult to find the way out. Therefore, when entering the 10,000 Dragons Valley, the martial artist had to prepare some things and sit down and mark them. Of course, even if one made a mark, one might not be able to return safely. This was because many things were unknown once one entered the 10,000 Dragons Valley. Some of the caves and passageways in the Myriad Dragons Valley could move. In addition, there were countless snake caves in the 10,000 Dragons Valley. Once one entered a snake cave, if one didn't have enough strength or luck, only death would await them. Although the 10,000 Dragons Valley was so dangerous, there were many people who went there. The 10,000 Dragons Valley had become a training ground for the 4 great immortal mansions, the 7 great sects, and the 10 great clans. Every year, some elders of the clans and sects would lead some new disciples into the 10,000 Dragons Valley to train. The training was based on the strength of the disciples and the strength of the elders in charge of the sect. Of course, the Tiani Immortal Mansion also existed. However, the disciples of the Tiani Immortal Mansion had already been there. In the 10,000 Dragons Valley, the safest period was winter. It was summer now, the time when snakes were less active. Therefore, during this period, the great sects and clans wouldn't arrange for their disciples to train. It was the same for the 4 great immortal mansions. There were very few people who went to the 10,000 Dragons Valley during this period. Only those who were there specifically to hunt snake-type savage beasts would enter the 10,000 Dragons Valley. After nearly 6 hours, Yang Hongwu and Gu Shaoxian finally arrived at the entrance of the 10,000 Dragons Valley. There was an inn at the entrance of the 10,000 Dragons Valley. This inn was called the 10,000 Dragons Inn. It was the only inn in the entire 10,000 Dragons Valley within a radius of several thousand miles. It was specially provided for warriors who entered the 10,000 Dragons Valley to train or cultivate. Many things could be purchased here. For example, realgar stones, elixirs that could detoxify snake venom, and so on. There were also various kinds of pills, talismans, weapons, and equipment. Of course, the 10,000 dragons and also purchased snake-type savage beasts, snake gall, snake skin, snake tendons, and so on. Some warriors who didn't have elixirs, spiritual stones, and so on for cultivation would hunt snake-type savage beasts and use them to exchange for resources such as spiritual stones, elixirs, and so on. Yang Hongwu came to the front of the inn's counter and said to the shopkeeper, "Shopkeeper, please reserve 2 superior rooms for me. Dear guests, unfortunately, all of our rooms are full today. There's only 1 room left." The shopkeeper said apologetically, "Full? How can this be?" Yang Hongwu asked in surprise. "How can your place be full? Logically speaking, there shouldn't be many people who come to the 10,000 Dragons Valley to train at this time. How can it be full? You just arrived, right?" The shopkeeper said. Yang Hongwu nodded. Could it be that something happened here? Rumor has it that a divine dragon was born in the 10,000 Dragons Valley. It's a young dragon. If anyone can obtain a young dragon, they can reach the sky in 1 step and become a venerable or great saint. The shopkeeper said, "So, many people have already rushed here and booked rooms. If the 2 of you had come a little later, this last room wouldn't have been available." A divine dragon was born. So this was the situation. A divine dragon. Yang Hongwu was also a little surprised. However, if a divine dragon was born, he should be able to sense it. Even if he couldn't sense it, Luli should be able to sense it. Chapter 598. By Family's Dandy. When did this news come out? Yang Hongwu asked. It came out 3 days ago. The shopkeeper said. Thank you, shopkeeper. Yang Hongwu understood something, but he did not say it out loud. Instead, he took out some spirit stones and asked the shopkeeper to bring him and Gu Shaoxian to their room. Wait, shopkeeper, I want this room. At this moment, a voice came from the door and 3 people walked in. The person in the lead was wearing a luxurious robe and holding a folding fan in his hand. His tone was very arrogant. I'm sorry, young master. We don't have any more rooms here. The shopkeeper shook his head. I want their room, the young master said coldly. Young master needs to discuss this with them. The shopkeeper said, Get out of the way. Yang Hongwu obviously would not give up his room. Who do they think they are? Yang Hongwu did not care about them at all. I advise you to give up your room. The man in luxurious robe coldly looked at Yang Hongwu and said, No one dares to snatch what I Bai Jin want. I don't care if you're Bai Jin or an idiot. Get out of the way. A cold light flashed in Yang Hongwu's eyes. Wanted to snatch his things? Yang Hongwu would not agree. If he really wanted to fight, he would not mind teaching him a lesson. Seeing that Yang Hongwu did not give him any face, Bai Jin's face darkened. This bird actually did not give him any face. He, the seventh young master of the Bai family, could not even get a room here. If this were to spread out, where would he put his face? Do you know who I am? I don't care who you are. A good dog does not block the way. Brat, you're courting death. Bai Si, Bai Lu, kill him. Bai Jin was furious to the extreme. That woman, catch her for me. She can warm my bed. Yes, young master. The two guards beside him immediately rushed towards Yang Hongwu and Gu Shaoxian to grab them. These two guards were not weak. One of them was at the 5th level of the divine realm, while the other was at the 6th level of the divine realm. Yang Hongwu was just about to attack when he noticed that an enormous pressure had enveloped him. This pressure was at least at the half-step exalt realm. The two guards were so intimidated by the terrifying pressure that they couldn't move at all. Yang Hongwu raised his head. This terrifying pressure was released by the innkeeper. He looked at Bai Jin and the other two and said, This is the 10,000 Dragon Inn. I don't care who you are. You can't cause trouble here. Since these two guests aren't willing to give up their rooms, you can't force them. If you want to cause trouble, don't blame me for being impolite. At first, Yang Hongwu did not notice it. Now he was shocked. Even a mere shopkeeper of the 10,000 Dragon Inn had reached the half-step honorable realm. It seemed that the 10,000 Dragon Inn was not as simple as he thought. Do you know who I am? I'm the 7th young master of the Bai family, one of the top 10 families. Do you believe that I'll flatten your 10,000 Dragon Inn? Being threatened by the innkeeper, Bai Jin could not keep his face and shouted out, You can try. Get lost now. My 10,000 Dragon Inn does not welcome people like you. After saying that, the innkeeper stretched out his hand. Vigorous energy gathered into a huge hand and grabbed Bai Jin. Bai Jin was tossed out like a rolling gourd. He was in a sorry state. Bai Jin was very arrogant, but his cultivation base was not very good. He had barely reached the 1st level of the divine realm, and it was probably due to the accumulation of pills. With such strength, he was barely able to resist the shopkeeper, who was a half-step venerable. When the two guards saw their young master being tossed out like this, their faces changed. However, they did not dare to do anything to the innkeeper. The difference in strength was too great. The two of them quickly chased after Bai Jin and helped him up. Young master, are you all right? Trash. 2 pieces of trash. Bai Jin was furious. He had never been humiliated like this in his entire life. This made him extremely angry. Knowing that he was not the shopkeeper's opponent, he vented his anger on his 2 subordinates and slapped each of them twice. After slapping them, he said to the innkeeper and Yang Hongwu, Damn old man, and you wait. I'll make you pay the price. After saying that, he walked out angrily. At this moment, the innkeeper said to Yang Hongwu and Gu Shaoxian, 2 guests, I'm really sorry. I didn't expect this to happen. I didn't think it through. Don't mention it. We should thank you, senior. It was you who helped us out. Yang Hongwu smiled. He did not mind at all. Don't say that, young master. In fact, with young master's ability, even if I didn't do anything, young master could easily resolve it. Although the innkeeper was only a half-step honorable, he had a good eye for people. Although Yang Hongwu was only at the 3rd level of the Tao pedestal realm, he did not panic at all. The girl beside him seemed to be taking him as her master. It was obvious that this young man was not as simple as he seemed, because when he revealed his half-step honorable aura, there was no change in him at all. This alone was enough to tell. More importantly, as a half-step honorable, he could not see through him. The 3rd level of the Tao pedestal realm was probably a disguise. How could he know that Yang Hongwu was only at the third level of the Tao pedestal realm? In the room, Yang Hongwu looked at Gu Shaoxian and said, "Don't you think it's a little strange that the news of the divine dragon's birth was spread at this time? And it was 3 days ago?" Gu Shaoxian nodded. "It's a little strange. I think it has something to do with Tian Shanlong." Yang Hongwu said. Tian Shanlong was very strong. He was the only one among the younger generation of the Tianyi Immortal Mansion who could compete with Ao Tianyi. He needed the yin-yang coiling dragon grass to refine the yin-yang fortune pill. Coincidentally, the news of the divine dragon's birth was spread in the 10,000 Dragon Valley at this time. Even if they knew that there was a yin-yang coiling dragon grass in the Myriad Dragon Valley, it wasn't easy to obtain it. However, if a large group of people entered the valley as cannon fodder, it would be a different story. The success rate would be much higher, because Yang Hongwu found that the geniuses of the 4 great immortal mansions, the 7 great sects, and the 10 great clans were not present in the 10,000 Dragon Valley. Most of the people who came were from small clans, some rogue cultivators, and of course, there were also some ignorant and incompetent disciples of great clans like Bai Jin. As for the real geniuses, he did not see any of them. In addition, Yang Hongwu could not sense the dragon's aura. As the 9-dragon saint body, it was impossible for him not to sense the birth of a divine dragon. Chapter 599. Baiku appears again the next day. Yang Hongwu and Gu Shaoxian prepared to explore the 10,000 Dragon Valley. Just as they left the inn, they saw a person. That person surprised Yang Hongwu, but it was also within his expectations. That person was Bai Jin. However, what surprised Yang Hongwu was that Bai Jin had brought a person with him. That person was someone he had seen when he first arrived at the ancient domain. "Uncle Baiku, that's him," Bai Jin said to the man beside him. That man was the person he had met when he first arrived at the ancient domain. He had met a woman who looked exactly like Bai Ran. Back then, if it wasn't for his cleverness, he would have met a very miserable end. "It's actually you, you little bastard." Seeing Yang Hongwu, he was instantly enraged. A terrifying aura erupted from him. He would never forget this little bastard for the rest of his life. At that time, he had been tricked by this little bastard and had almost died at the hands of the Hell Killer Bees. Recalling the events of that day, his heart still palpitated. "So it's you. I didn't expect you to still be alive. You actually didn't get killed by the Hell Killer Bees. You're truly lucky." Yang Hongwu also smiled. Thinking of this guy's miserable appearance when he had been chased by the Hell Killer Bees, he was also very happy. "Let's see who will be able to save you this time." A cold light burst out from Baiku's eyes. Baiku's strength was at half-step exalted realm. He was even stronger than the shopkeeper. He sent a punch towards Yang Hongwu. Terrifying power condensed on his fist and transformed into a ferocious big bear that pounced towards Yang Hongwu. Torrential power surged forth in an unending stream. Yin-yang 3 revolutions. Yin-yang great palm. Yang Hongwu lightly snorted. He raised his hands and condensed his magic power, transforming it into a great palm and smashed it towards the terrifying fist. The big bear was hit on the head by the terrifying palm. The 2 powers exploded. Shockwaves spread in all directions. It was as if a mountain had collapsed, raising a huge cloud of dust. Yang Hongwu took several steps back. What a little bastard. Baiku was shocked when he saw that Yang Hongwu had actually blocked his attack. This little bastard cultivation wasn't even at the primordial spirit realm back then. But now, his cultivation had already reached the 3rd level of the Tao pedestal realm. This cultivation speed was too shocking. Furthermore, he originally thought that he would be able to easily kill this little bastard with one move. He did not expect that this little bastard would actually be able to block his attack. "Old thing, you'd better scram. The Hell Killer Bees didn't manage to kill you last time. This time, if you don't cherish this opportunity, your little life will end here." Yang Hongwu's lips curled into a smile. "This guy's strength is really strong. It's not for show. Little bastard, do you think you can scare me away just because you used a secret technique to block one of my attacks? You're too naive. Today, you'll definitely die." Baiku could be said to hate Yang Hongwu to the bone. Now that he had the chance, how could he let him go? As he spoke, he put on a pair of gloves. The gloves flickered with a faint blue light. That was the symbol of poison. This was Baiku's killing gloves. It was refined with a type of poison called the death of the underworld. Today, I'll let you die by my killing gloves. It'll be your honor. Baiku knew that Yang Hongwu was incomparably cunning. Otherwise, he wouldn't have suffered so much in his hands back then. Therefore, this time, he was prepared to go all out to kill Yang Hongwu. He had even used his most important trump card, the killing gloves. Bai Jin was also shocked when he saw Baiku like this. He did not expect that Baiku would actually use the killing gloves. The killing gloves were Baiku's most important trump card. He would definitely not use it unless it was a critical moment. In battle, unless he met someone whose cultivation was higher than his, he would never use the killing gloves even if they were at the same level. However, the more Bai Jin saw Baiku like this, the happier he was. This way, Yang Hanwu would definitely be dead. How could a mere level 3 Dao pedestal withstand Baiku's full-strength attack? Even the shopkeeper wouldn't be a match for Baiku. This little bastard was doomed this time. No one could save him. Seeing this, Yang Hanwu knew that it would be difficult for him to deal with Baiku if he didn't use some of his strength. Golden Dragon War Body Open. Mysterious Dragon 9 Transformations. 5th Transformation. Titan Art. Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram. Come out. This time, Yang Hongwu unleashed his full strength and used the powerful Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram. Yang Hongwu had studied the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram when he was in the Tianyi Immortal Abode and God-Destroying Peak. He discovered that the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram was not as simple as it seemed. If he could fully control it, he could summon the Heaven Punishment Spirit to fight. It was like using the Heavenly Wizard Pot to summon Chi-Yu. However, he had yet to fully understand the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram, so he couldn't grasp the secrets of the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram. When the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram appeared, terrifying shaman souls flew out. These shaman souls were extremely powerful. Although they weren't heaven wizards or great wizards, they were all ferocious and violent. They were decisive and filled with killing intent. These shaman souls bared their fangs and brandished their claws as they charged towards Baiku. They let out terrifying roars that were filled with deterrence. Kill! 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 The curved shaman race war saber was filled with the stench of blood. It was unknown how many people's blood had been stained on it. The saber's body glowed with a red light, which was formed by the bloody evil chi. 10 Direction Killing Fist. Baiku shouted as he punched out with both fists. Powerful killing intent condensed into Azura generals. They were filled with a terrifying killing intent. They wanted to destroy all obstacles and kill all living things. Yang Hongwu had also practiced the 10 Direction Killing Fist. Moreover, the 10 Direction Killing Fist that Yang Hongwu had practiced was of a higher level and more complete than Baiku's 10 Direction Killing Fist. Yang Hongwu knew the 10 Direction Killing Fist very well. Although Baiku's cultivation had reached the half-step hierarch realm, he didn't rely on his own cultivation to reach the half-step hierarch realm. Instead, he had used a special secret technique to achieve it. His cultivation base that had been increased in such a way wasn't stable. There was a huge gap between him and the half-step hierarch realm. As for his comprehension of the 10 Direction Killing Fist, it was also very weak. Compared to Yang Hongwu, it was like comparing heaven and earth. In the eyes of outsiders, the 10 Direction Killing Fist that Baiku had used was a powerful weapon. It was almost flawless and had reached a perfect state. However, it was different in Yang Hongwu's eyes. This 10 Direction Killing Fist was full of loopholes. It wasn't worth mentioning in his eyes. The shaman souls attacked fiercely under the control of Yang Hongwu. They slashed at the same spot. Bang! Chapter 600. God of Slaughter's Protection Puff. Baiku, who was sent flying, spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale as he looked at Yang Hongwu in shock. He did not expect that his 10 Direction Killing Fist would be broken so easily. The 10 Direction Killing Fist was extremely powerful. Even though he did not practice the complete version of the 10 Direction Killing Fist, it was still very powerful. In the entire ancient domain, The only people who knew the difference between his 10-direction killing fist and the true 10-direction killing fist were the true prodigies of the Bai family. Even Bai Jin, who was a direct descendant of the Bai family, was not qualified to practice the 10-direction killing fist if he did not have enough talent. Therefore, ordinary people would not be able to see the flaw of his 10-direction killing fist. But this little bastard in front of him actually knew the flaw of the 10-direction killing fist and easily defeated him. This made Bai Ku suspicious. Could it be that Bai Quan taught him this? This was the only possibility. It seemed that the reason why he hadn't been able to capture Bai Quan that day was because he had been saved by this brat. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to break through his attack so easily. Even though he was only at the 3rd level of the Tao pedestal realm, he was still heavily injured. You practiced the 10-direction killing fist? Bai Ku asked. You know a lot. Yang Hongwu said. Yes, I have practiced the 10-direction killing fist. Moreover, I know that the 10-direction killing fist that you've practiced is not the complete version. It's just a weakened version. Let me teach you the true 10-direction killing fist. Yang Hongwu was not afraid of Bai Ku since he had already severely injured him. Putting away the heaven punishment battle diagram, he smiled and clenched his fists. Killing intent burst out of his eyes like swords of the Tao of slaughter. 10-direction killing fist, god of slaughter descends. Yang Hongwu let out a clear roar. Both of his fists condensed dermic powers and turned into a terrifying god of slaughter. This god of slaughter held a terrifying battle saber in his hand. The battle saber was jagged and was filled with a murderous aura. This murderous aura caused the temperature of the entire space to drop instantly. The space seemed to have solidified. Kill! 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 The god of slaughter roared and slashed his saber towards Bai Ku's neck. Damn it! Bai Ku's expression changed drastically when he saw this. This horrifying killing fist was worlds apart from the 10-direction killing fist that he executed. They were simply not on the same level. Perfect, this was definitely the perfect 10-direction killing fist, the true 10-direction killing fist. It contained the pure power of the godly slayer. This was the power of an emperor technique. An emperor technique contained the power of the great emperor's law. This was no longer an ordinary fist technique. This made Bai Ku extremely shocked. The fist of slaughter had its own spirituality and had awakened the true god of slaughter. This was the power of a true emperor technique. Even if it wasn't an emperor technique, it had already touched the edge of it. Could it be? Could it be that this brat had obtained the inheritance of the killing god? No, this was absolutely impossible. This brat did not have the bloodline of the Azura god, so it was impossible for him to obtain the inheritance of the Azura god. Only someone with the bloodline of the Bai family could obtain the inheritance of the Azura god. There were only 2 people in the Bai family who were qualified to obtain the inheritance. One was Bai Iran, and the other was his own master, Bai Irue. Bai Iran and Bai Irue were twins. However, Bai Iran's talent was much higher than Bai Irue's. Her bloodline was also much purer. Her cultivation talent was also much higher than Bai Irue's. However, Bai Irue was also not to be underestimated. Although her body and talent were not as good as Bai Iran's, she was still one of the most outstanding people in the entire ancient domain. Among the younger generation, there were not many people who could be compared to Bai Iran. There were 2 Qiani Immortal Mansion, 3 Tai Xianfu, 2 Kunlun Immortal Mansion, and 2 Ocean Immortal Mansion. As for the other great clans and 7 great sects, there were not more than 5 of them. In other words, in the entire ancient domain, there were not more than 15 people who could be compared to her. However, Bai Irue was a very ambitious woman. She was different from her sister, Bai Iran. Bai Iran stood aloof from worldly affairs. She was wholeheartedly focused on cultivation, pursuing the highest realm of martial arts. Bai Irue always wanted to surpass Bai Iran, but she was unable to do so. Bai Irue's current strength was only at the 7th level of the divine realm. However, Bai Iran's current strength had already reached the 2nd step of the venerable realm. Moreover, her fighting strength was very terrifying. She had cultivated the 10-direction killing fist, which was passed down in her family, to an unimaginable level. She had even evolved the original 10-direction killing fist into her own fist technique, which was most suitable for her. When she used it, it was even more powerful than before. Bai Irue was very jealous of this. For a long time, Bai Irue wanted to kill Bai Iran, but she was unable to do so because the gap between her and Bai Iran's strength was too big. Of course, Bai Irue had an even greater ambition. She wanted to devour her sister by Iran's battle bloodline, and then increase her strength. Then, she would be able to awaken the true killing god bloodline, and awaken the killing god physique. Once the true killing god physique was awakened, she would be able to transform into a killing god. She would be invincible. She would be able to break through to the venerable realm, saint realm, and even become a great sovereign. Looking at Yang Hongwu, Bai Ku thought that this kid had probably received guidance from Bai Quan. Bai Quan was Bai Iran's confidant. Of course, he had received the true teachings of Bai Iran. Bai Quan was a person who would repay the kindness of a drop of water with a gushing spring. Yang Hongwu had saved his life, so it was possible that he had received guidance from him. Of course, it was very likely that this kid and First Miss Bai Iran knew each other. Otherwise, he wouldn't have called Second Miss Bai Iran. Therefore, it was more likely that the killing fist that he practiced was taught to him by Bai Iran. However, this brat's combat prowess and talent were simply too terrifying and shocking. In just a short period of time, his cultivation had reached such a level. Back then, he could casually kill Yang Hongwu as easily as crushing an ant. Although he had suffered a sneak attack from this brat later on, he was still able to do so. But now, he had grown to such a level that even he was no match for him. Moreover, the treasure on his body, the battle map, was filled with a strange power. That power seemed to be the legendary sorcerer tribe's soul oracle. The sorcerer tribe had been exterminated a long time ago. However, no one knew if the sorcerer tribe had left behind any inheritance. Moreover, the sorcerer tribe was definitely terrifying. Their combat strength was terrifying. The ancient sorcerer tribe was rumored to be the master of the entire land. However, after the war with the demon tribe, both sides suffered great losses. This gave the human tribe an opportunity to rise and become the main character of the land. Although this was only a legend, it was enough to prove that the sorcerer tribe's strength was not baseless. However, he couldn't care less about this now. To him, the most important thing was how to deal with this terrifying killing move. Killing God's protection. This was the only defensive move in the 10-direction killing fist. Chapter 601. Another 9 pearl, Azura protection? Yang Hongwu sneered. What's slaying God protection? It couldn't even withstand a single blow. Under Yang Hongwu's bombardment, the protective shield was smashed into pieces. There was no way for it to resist at all. It was like a fallen leaf being blown away by the wind. There was no way for it to resist this attack. Asterisk bang. Asterisk with a loud bang. Bai Ku was once again sent flying. His body heavily crashed into Bai Jin's body. The two of them were like a human pyramid as they landed on the ground, kicking up waves of dust. How is it? Do you still want to kill me? Yang Hongwu walked over and stepped on Bai Ku's face. You're ruthless. Kill me if you dare. Bai Ku shouted. Aggrieved, extremely aggrieved. To him, there was nothing more humiliating than this. If the first time could be considered an accident, then this time, it was a complete humiliation. He never thought that he would be defeated by Yang Hongwu again. One should know that Yang Hongwu's cultivation was only at the 3rd level of the Tao Foundation realm. Moreover, he came from the ancient desolate continent not long ago. He was actually so powerful. Bai Ku smiled bitterly when he thought that he had encountered such a monstrous genius. He had encountered so many things. If he had been defeated by a genius at the peak of the divine realm, he would have felt better. However, it was hard for him to accept that he had been defeated by Yang Hongwu. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Bai Jin begged. I won't fight with you. I'll give you whatever you want. I'm the 7th young master of the Bai family. My sister is a super genius of the ancient domain. Don't kill me. Don't kill you? Do you think it's possible? I don't care about treasures or beauties. However, since I'm friends with the Bai family, I'll give you a chance. Yang Hongwu looked at Bai Jin and said, "If you could take out enough things, I'll let you go. Of course, the things you take out must be able to move my heart." This Bai Jin was greedy for life and afraid of death. Yang Hongwu shook his head in his heart. Of course, there was another reason why he didn't kill him. He didn't know how this guy was related to Bai Iran. He was the seventh young master of the Bai family. What if he was Bai Iran's biological younger brother? In any case, he was indebted to her. If he were to kill her brother like this, he didn't know what would happen. Yang Hongwu didn't want to fall out with Bai Iran. After all, Bai Iran was his benefactor. Moreover, Bai Iran also had a pure, immortal body. He needed to find a pure, immortal body, so he couldn't become enemies with Bai Iran. Okay, I have a supreme grade immortal weapon. This supreme grade immortal weapon is a flying boat made by the Heavens Craftsman sect. It's very fast and has an offensive effect. A strike it can make is comparable to a strike of a peak half-step venerable. As he spoke, he took out the item. It was a model of a flying boat that looked very exquisite. Of course, Yang Hongwu knew that this was because of the restriction. If he dripped his blood on it and claimed it as its master, he could use the restriction to enlarge the flying boat and become a flying boat. The flying boat was indeed a good item, but it wasn't of much use to Yang Hongwu now. Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, "This thing isn't very attractive to me. If I want a flying boat, I can make one myself." In Yang Hongwu's eyes, this flying boat's level wasn't high enough. It would be better if it was a warship. It was just a flying boat, so he didn't care. "Therefore, you can't move my heart. If you only have this flying boat, then I'm sorry, you can only die." No, there's more. I have more." Bai Jin was a little anxious when he heard that Lin Fan didn't even want the flying boat. As he spoke, he took out another item. "I have a pill here. It's the Celestial Fate Rejuvenation Pill. It's a 7th grade treasure pill with amazing healing effects. As long as there's still a breath left, it can even save someone who's on the verge of death. A pill? I don't need it. A mere 7th grade pill is nothing to me. Of course, it might be possible if it's an 8th grade pill. Moreover, it's only a treasure grade pill. It's really lousy." Yang Hongwu shook his head and commented, "A 7th grade pill, the Celestial Fate Rejuvenation Pill, was indeed a very precious pill for ordinary people. Pills that could save lives were very rare. However, who was Yang Hongwu? He was an alchemist. Moreover, he was a peak 7th grade alchemist. The pills that he concocted were much better than others. They were all of the perfect quality. If they didn't reach the perfect quality, then in his eyes, they were all substandard products. They were all failures. Therefore, he didn't need a mere rare quality pill of the 7th grade. If it was an 8th grade pill, he could study it carefully. Perhaps Yang Hongwu could find an opportunity to break through to the 8th grade alchemist." Bai Jin was about to cry. Why didn't this person care about anything? This was a flying boat, a top-grade flying boat, and a 7th grade pill that could save lives. No matter where it was, or who it was in the hands of, even in the hands of a venerable expert, it was very precious and rare. However, Lin Fan didn't care about it. This was too greedy. However, for the sake of his own life, he had to take out other things. Let me give you a suggestion. For example, the matter of the 10,000 Dragons Valley, the map, etc. Of course, there are also some more special things that are strange and bizarre. As long as they are to my liking, that is fine too." Yang Hongwu said, "Something related to the 10,000 Dragon Valley? Strange and strange? Yes, how about it? Is there anything else? I don't have much time. I don't have the mood to waste time here with you. I'll give you another 30 breaths of time. If you don't take out something that can satisfy me, then you'd better die." Yang Hongwu said. Bai Jin's forehead was already densely covered with sweat. I got it. Bai Jin suddenly said. He took out an item. It was a strange bead. The bead was pitch black, without a trace of life. "This bead, this is it. I got it after killing a family. It's rumored that this is the family treasure of that person. I don't know what it is." Bai Jin said. "This bead?" Yang Hongwu took it and looked at it. He didn't find anything special. He couldn't penetrate it with his spiritual strength and the power of primordial spirit. "This is the 9 bead you're looking for." At this time, Scherbauer said, I didn't expect that you would be so lucky to find another one. This is the Nineteen bead? Are you sure? Yang Hongwu was pleasantly surprised. Chapter 602. Grade 8 Spiritual Herbs. Then why didn't the Immortal Pagoda sense the Nineteen Pearl? It's really strange. Logically speaking, the Immortal Pagoda should have sensed the Nineteen Pearl. Yang Hongwu voiced out his doubts. Because the Nineteen Pearl has been sealed by a powerful force. Naturally, you can't sense it, Scherbauer said. If it's sealed, how can I undo the seal? If there was no way to undo the seal, wouldn't everything be in vain? Of course it can be undone, but it's not easy to undo the seal. Scherbauer shook her head and said, this Nineteen Pearl has been sealed by the legendary ghost god sealing technique. There should be a powerful soul sealed within it. Unless the soul of the powerful soul inside the Nineteen Pearl is destroyed, it's impossible to break the seal. Of course, there's another way, and that's if you're powerful enough to surpass the person who cast the ghost god sealing technique. How strong is the person who cast the ghost god sealing technique? Yang Hongwu was glad that there was a way to undo the seal. Yang Hongwu was confident about his own strength. Even if the ghost god sealing technique was cast by a great emperor, there was a way to surpass it. It was just a matter of time. Yang Hongwu had never doubted his own strength. I don't know, but I'm sure that this person's strength is definitely not weaker than a great emperor's. The person who can cast the ghost god sealing technique is at least a great saint. Moreover, to be able to cast it to such an extent, he must be stronger than a great saint. Therefore, you have to be at least a great emperor's level in order to undo the seal. Once you undo the seal, you will face a great challenge and a terrifying danger. That is the terrifying expert sealed in the Nineteen Pearl. Think about it. Why did the expert seal the person in the Nineteen Pearl instead of killing him? I don't want to kill him, or rather, I can't kill him. I can only seal him. Yang Hongwu thought of this and frowned. If this was the case, it would be a big problem. According to what you said, I don't know how long I'll have to wait to unlock the seal. Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly. Who would have thought that a mere seal, a Nineteen Pearl, would have so many problems? It was truly depressing. 19 pearls. There were a total of 9 pearls, and he had only obtained 2 of them. This one was even sealed. There must be something terrifying inside. But this also indirectly proved one thing, and that was the power of the Immortal Tower, which was beyond his imagination. Just the 19 pearl alone was already so terrifying. Then what would happen if the entire Immortal Tower was completely activated and restored to its peak state? It was probably even more powerful than an emperor weapon, right? At this time, Bai Jin saw Yang Hongwu in a daze. He was overjoyed. The fact that he was in a daze meant that he was interested in this thing. With this, it would be good. With something that he was interested in, he could save his life. He had long wanted to throw away this inconspicuous pearl. Who would have thought that it would save his life today? He was overjoyed. As long as he didn't die, it was fine. Nothing was more important than his life. He was still young, and there were still so many good days to enjoy. As for this guy, he would just wait until he returned to the Bai family and get someone to kill him for making him suffer such humiliation. This grudge must be avenged. He, Bai Jin, had never encountered such a grievance before. This grudge was absolutely irreconcilable. Yang Hongwu put away the 19 pearl and looked at Bai Jin. Very well. I'm very interested in this thing. If you accept it, I can spare your life. Of course, this can only make me spare your life, but not you. If you want me to let you go, you have to take out something else. Bai Jin wanted to curse, but he didn't dare to. What if this guy turned hostile? He often did this kind of thing. After getting what he wanted, he immediately turned hostile and killed everyone. Thinking of this, he felt his blood run cold. This guy wouldn't be like him, right? You have to swear. Yang Hongwu's tone sank. Killing intent burst out from his eyes. What did you say? I dare you to say it again. No, I'm just joking. I said I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. Bai Jin shivered. 7th young master, don't listen to him. This bastard won't let you go. Bai Ku opened his mouth and said, he just wants to get some treasures from you. Ha, do you believe me? Yang Hongwu laughed. He disagreed with Bai Ku's words. If I wanted to kill you, I wouldn't have to wait until now. If I kill you, I can get the treasures. I said that I'm giving you a chance because I know someone from the Bai family. Do you know why I know the 10 direction killing fist? She gave it to me. Baiku, don't talk nonsense. By the way, young master, who do you know from the Bai family? Bai Jin said, with a flattering face. It's not convenient to say. Take it out. Yang Hanwu said, this is a 10,000 years purple spiritual ginseng. It should be helpful to you. Bai Jin felt pain in his heart. This purple spiritual ginseng was more precious than the heaven's extreme resurrection elixir. It was a genuine 8th grade spiritual medicine. He stole it from the old master's treasure house secretly. The reason why he didn't dare to go back was because of this matter. He was afraid that the old master would punish him badly when he went back. Although the old master spoiled him, this purple spiritual ginseng was too important to the old master and the whole Bai family. He stole the purple spiritual ginseng when the old master was in seclusion. He was going to use it himself to break through and become the most outstanding genius in the Bai family. However, he had no choice now. In order to save his life, he could only take it out. Moreover, this way, he could push all the blame to Yang Hongwu. Chapter 603. Entering the 10,000 Dragon Valley. Very good. I'm very satisfied with this item. A grade 8 elixir was extremely precious. There were only a few grade 8 elixirs in the entire ancient domain. As long as one had enough strength, one could refine a grade 8 elixir. Of course, the prerequisite was that the alchemist was a grade 8 alchemist. Yang Hongwu himself did not have the confidence to succeed. It was impossible for him to try. Grade 8 spiritual herbs were so rare. If he failed, it would be too much of a pity. It's good that you're satisfied. When Bai Jin saw Yang Hongwu's smiling face, he breathed a sigh of relief. His life was finally saved. He wiped the sweat from his forehead and said, Can I go now? Yang Hongwu nodded and said, yes, you can. As for this guy, do as you deem fit. He knows that you stole your father's grade 8 elixir. Yang Hongwu hugged Gu Xiaoshuan's waist and walked forward. Junior brother, why did you let them go? At this moment, Gu Xiaoxian asked curiously. That Bai Jin is just a good-for-nothing, Yang Hongwu said. There's not much point in killing him. Besides, I have a friend in the Bai clan, and she's kind to me. I don't know what kind of relationship she has with this guy, so it's not good to kill him. What about Bai Ku? He wants to kill you. He hates you to the bone. Gu Xiaoxian said, it shouldn't matter if he's killed. He's just a servant of the Bai family. She knew that Yang Hongwu didn't like Bai Ku. She didn't expect that Yang Hongwu would let Bai Ku go. No, he'll die. I don't need to do anything, Yang Hongwu said. Right after he said those words, a miserable shriek sounded from behind. That miserable shriek was emitted by Bai Ku. Junior brother Yang, you're so powerful. Gu Xiaoshuan's eyes shone with admiration. Yang Hongwu smiled and said, this is nothing. Bai Ku already knew that Bai Jin had stolen the grade 8 spiritual medicine. If this news were to spread to the Bai clan and the Bai clan's elder ancestor found out, Bai Jin would be skin alive. Therefore, Bai Ku would definitely die. In order to survive, Bai Jin would definitely not allow this news to be leaked. The two of them arrived at the entrance of the 10,000 Dragons Valley. There were a lot of people gathered here. Although there was news of the appearance of the divine dragon, not many people dared to enter. Roar! Suddenly, an earth-shattering roar came from the depths of the 10,000 Dragons Valley. It was as if the heavens and earth were about to be shattered by the roar. P.S. In the future, there will be a minimum of 3 chapters. If there are any special circumstances, there will be an explanation. I'll be saving some manuscripts recently in case there isn't an update during the new year. Everyone, please bear with me. After all, there are many things to do during the new year. The earth quaked and the mountains swayed. Everyone only felt a buzzing sound, and their brains were about to be shaken to the point of fainting. This voice was filled with majesty. Dragon's roar. Oh my God, this is really a dragon's roar. The divine dragon must be coming out. Let's go, everyone, let's go in. Someone shouted. This time, a group of people rushed into the 10,000 Dragons Valley crazily. Far away, on a mountain peak, a man stood there with a cold smile on his face. Go, all of you go in. As long as you guys are my cannon fodder, my chances of obtaining the yin-yang coiling dragon grass will be higher, and my losses will be smaller. That man was none other than heavenly god Lung of the Tianyi immortal abode. As for the earth-shattering dragon's roar, it was created by him. Only Yang Hongwu realized that the dragon's roar did not mean that there was a divine dragon in the 10,000 Dragons Valley. It was just a bait. Mao, I had already seen heavenly god Lung. It's indeed heavenly god Lung. Yang Hongwu said to Gu Shaoxian. That guy has already appeared. These people are just his cannon fodder. What should we do? Gu Shaoxian asked. Go in. Yang Hongwu said with a smile on his face. Go in now. Gu Shaoxian was stunned. Shouldn't we wait for them to go in first and clear the danger before going in? If these people went in first, the danger would be much lower. Gu Shaoxian was confused when she saw that Yang Hongwu wanted to go in now. However, she knew that Yang Hongwu must have his own thoughts since he said so. But she still wanted to know. I'm not worried about the traps, formations, and restrictions inside. As for the snakes, I'm not worried about them either. Yang Hongwu said, it's not good to follow them in. We'll attract the attention of the strong beasts inside. So, we'll avoid them and enter from another direction. This way, the danger will be much lower. They'll help us attract the attention of the beasts. Gu Xiaoshuan's eyes lit up when she heard Yang Hongwu's explanation. The two of them entered the 10,000 Dragons Valley. However, unlike the others, Yang Hongwu chose the narrowest passage. It was at the very side. Moreover, this passageway led downwards and back again. Ordinary people wouldn't choose this passage at all. Junior brother Yang, we're going to take this passage? Gu Shaoxian looked at it. This passage didn't lead deep into the 10,000 Dragons Valley at all. Instead, it seemed to lead to the outside. Yes, don't judge this passage by its appearance. In fact, there's something special about it. The yin-yang coiling dragon grass has the power of yin and yang, and it'll be nurtured by dragon blood. So, the place where the yin-yang coiling dragon grass grows must be the place where yin and yang meet. In addition, there'll be the power of dragon blood. Among all the passages, only this one contains these two things. So, if I'm not wrong, this is the closest way to find what we want. Yang Hongwu explained with a smile. In addition, there's also this map. On this map, the surrounding places have powerful savage beasts and snake caves. It's too dangerous to go to these places. Although the passage we're on isn't recorded clearly, I have a feeling that this is the safest path. Then let's go quickly. Gu Shaoxian said. Once we find the yin-yang coiling dragon grass, we can go back and save Sister Yuji. Yes, there's no time to lose. Let's go. The two of them entered the cave. After walking for a while, Yang Hongwu released the spiritual cat clone. He let the spiritual cat clone lead the way while Yang Hongwu and Gu Shaoxian followed behind. Not long after, Tian Xinlong also appeared at the entrance. He also came to the entrance of the passage that Yang Hongwu had just entered. There were 3 people beside Tian Xinlong. These 3 people were from the Tian family, and they were Tian Xinlong's guards. Their strength was above level 7 of the divine realm. They were very powerful. One of them said, Young Master, someone went in before us. There's someone who went in before us. Does someone else know about the yin-yang coiling dragon grass? Another person said, maybe it's just an accident. Chapter 604. Luli shows his prowess. Yang Hongwu didn't know what was going on behind them. The two of them continued to move forward. Along the way, they did not encounter much danger. Only some weak snake-type savage beasts were easily killed. What shocked Yang Hongwu was that the true dragon bloodline in these weak snake-type savage beasts was not weak at all. Therefore, Yang Hongwu didn't let go of any snake-type savage beasts along the way, because killing these savage beasts would be very beneficial to his soul and Lu Li. He had the 9 dragons saint body, and Lu Li had the 7-colored Lu Li dragon. The true dragon bloodline would be of great help to Lu Li's cultivation. Since Gu Shaoxian was no longer an outsider, Yang Hongwu decided to release Lu Li. Junior brother Yang, you have a true dragon? Gu Xiaoshuan's eyes widened when she saw Lu Li. She was shocked. This was a true dragon, a real divine dragon, not a fake one. Yes. Yang Hongwu nodded and said, "Senior sister, don't tell anyone about this. You're the first person to know that I have a divine dragon. This seven-colored Lu Li dragon is one of the strongest divine dragons. Lu Li and I are no longer servants. We're friends. Lu Li's strength hasn't grown yet. Lu Li can grow faster here. Can I touch her?" Gu Shaoxian was overjoyed when she heard Yang Hongwu say that she was the first person to know about Lu Li's existence. She looked at Lu Li's seven-colored flowing light, as if she was carved out of jade. She was very cute. I don't have the final say." Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, "Only if Lu Li agrees." At this moment, Lu Li turned into a little girl. She was very cute, as if she was carved out of jade. She looked like a jade doll. She was about 11 or 12 years old, but she gave off a breathtaking feeling. She was a Lolita, a super beautiful Lolita. "Hello, elder sister Shaoxian." Lu Li came out and said to Gu Shaoxian in a clear voice. "Hello, younger sister Lu Li." Gu Shaoxian was stunned at first, but she quickly recovered. "Let's go," Yang Hongwu said. Gu Shaoxian and Lu Li soon chatted in full swing. After signing the contract with him, Gu Xiaoxuan's personality changed a lot. She didn't like to talk much, but now she was chatting happily with Lu Li. Yang Hongwu shook his head and couldn't help but sigh. Women are all strange creatures. As they continued forward, they arrived at a fork in the road. The depths of the two forks were pitch black, and it was impossible to see what was in there. Even Mao could not see through the depths of the fork. After all, Mao Er's strength was limited, and this place was very special. "There are two forks. How should we go now?" Gu Shaoxian also saw the forks and said to Yang Hongwu, "Lu Li, what do you think?" Yang Hongwu looked at Lu Li and said. Yang Hongwu found that some of the information in these two forks were the same. The power of Yin and Yang and True Dragon Qi were almost the same. He had no way to distinguish which entrance was the correct one. "Go this way." Lu Li pointed to the right entrance. "Okay, then let's go this way." Yang Hongwu believed in Lu Li. Lu Li's sensing ability was much stronger than his. After all, Lu Li was a real divine dragon. Although he had the 9 dragons' sacred body, it had not been fully activated yet. Unless his strength could reach the venerable realm, he might be able to catch up with Lu Li. Of course, Lu Li was also improving all the time. It would not be easy to catch up with her. After entering the right entrance, Yang Hongwu found that the air here changed all of a sudden. The air inside was obviously much better than the air outside, and the spirit Qi was much more abundant. This shocked Yang Hongwu. There seemed to be a big gap between what he saw just now. Is it a restriction? Yang Hongwu was stunned. It was just a difference of an entrance, but there was no formation or restriction at the entrance. This was what made Yang Hongwu feel the most strange. Mysterious. This place was indeed mysterious. Yang Hongwu, who was originally full of confidence, suddenly felt the pressure. About half an hour later, Yang Hongwu's face suddenly changed. The spiritual cat clone in front of him had encountered a strong enemy. "Let's go, let's hurry up." Yang Hongwu sped up. The spiritual cat clone encountered a huge snake. The snake's skin was like iron, and the spiritual cat could not break its defense at all. It was very strong. When they came out of the battle range, Yang Hongwu saw the huge snake and smiled bitterly. This huge snake was actually an 8th level savage beast. Damn it, I still encountered it. In the end, there was no way to avoid it. This huge snake was very strange. It could actually hide its aura. It was as if it was hibernating here, and it was difficult to detect. Only when one was close to it, one could feel it. Therefore, such a situation occurred. Of course, even if there was such a huge snake here, Yang Hongwu would still take this path. Hiss, hiss. The huge snake kept hissing and circled around the spiritual cat. It was as if it did not see the arrival of Yang Hongwu and the others. "Lu Li, can you deal with this guy?" Yang Hongwu asked Lu Li. His spiritual cat clone was not a match for it all. In just a few rounds, it was already full of wounds. If this continued, his spiritual cat clone would die. Although Yang Hongwu could immediately take back his spiritual cat clone without any harm, it was a pity for the spiritual cat puppet. "Yes." Lu Li nodded. "It's good if you can subdue it." Yang Hongwu said again. This was a powerful iron bone copper snake, an 8th level intermediate savage beast. Its combat power was amazing, and its concealment technique was very powerful. Even the cat could not detect it. This showed how powerful it was in concealment. The cat had the delusion breaker eye. Moreover, its defense was amazing. After such a blow, it did not leave any wounds. Big earthworm, come here. Luli waved at the huge snake and shouted. The iron bone copper snake immediately gave up on attacking the spiritual cat. Its huge head looked at Luli with a puzzled look. When Luli released his powerful dragon force, a huge bloodline pressure appeared, causing the iron bone copper snake to tremble. Yang Hongwu looked at this scene and was shocked to the extreme. Is this possible? Chapter 605. Setting up a formation, however, the next scene made everyone dumbfounded. With a bang sound, the iron bone copper snake suddenly exploded like a bomb, and blood splattered everywhere. Even Luli was stunned. What's going on? This is too strange. Luli, did you do this? Yang Hongwu asked. Luli shook her head. It wasn't me. I only used my bloodline pressure and the soul control technique that I awakened. I didn't expect such a situation to happen. Logically speaking, this is impossible. This iron bone copper snake is already under my control. This situation shouldn't have happened. Luli, try something else later. Yang Hongwu said. Okay. Luli nodded. It's a pity that this snake is useless. If I can really control it, my battle strength will increase tremendously. What a pity, what a pity. The 2 people and 1 dragon continued to move forward. After walking for about 60 breaths, he saw another snake. This snake was much weaker than the previous one, and it was also much smaller. It was only a level 6 savage beast. Yang Hongwu wasn't worried. He didn't need to do anything. He said to Luli, try your soul control technique again. Okay. Luli nodded. Her jade-white hand reached out and grabbed the little snake. Then, a 7-colored light shot out from her eyes and entered the little snake's head. The next moment, the small snake began to tremble. In just a few breaths of time, the little snake's head exploded like a watermelon, shattering into pieces. It's like this again. Did I make a mistake in my cultivation? Luli frowned and muttered to himself. Regardless of whether that was the case or not, its power was indeed astonishing. It could even easily kill an 8th-grade savage beast from before. It was simply unimaginably powerful. Yang Hongwu thought for a while and asked, Luli, does your soul control technique work on other savage beasts? If it worked on all living beings, it would be a little too heaven-defying. It should work, but I haven't tried it yet. Luli said, forget it. Let's move forward and find the yin-yang coiling dragon grass. Yang Hongwu said, someone is catching up. Mao suddenly said, it's Tian Shunlong. Tian Shunlong? Why do they take this path? Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. It seemed that he wasn't the only one who knew the secret. Tian Shunlong was well prepared. However, he didn't know how Tian Shunlong. Since they were catching up, Yang Hongwu and Yang Hongwu, they were Yang Hongwu. However, how could he hide it? This was also a problem. In this narrow passageway, there was no way to find a place to hide. Unless there was an invisibility talisman? Invisibility talisman? I don't know. Invisibility formation. I'm afraid there's no way to hide from their divine sense. Tian Shun Lung wasn't an ordinary person. He was powerful. How could someone who could become the 2nd strongest among the younger generation in Tianyi Immortal Mansion be simple? Therefore, it wouldn't be easy to deal with him. Tian Shinlong is coming. I didn't expect them to take this path. Yang Hongwu said, what should we do? Tian Shinlong isn't easy to deal with. He's very powerful, unless you use the battle spirit possession. However, the battle spirit possession seems to be harmful to you. Gu Shaoxian was aware of Yang Hongwu's strength when he used the battle spirit possession. However, every time she saw Yang Hongwu using the battle spirit possession, the side effects would be severe. He wouldn't be able to recover without a few days. In that case, even if they defeated and killed Tian Shinlong, they wouldn't be able to find the yin-yang coiling dragon grass in this 10,000 dragon valley. It wasn't worth it. Forget it. Let's move forward. Yang Hongwu thought for a while and decided to speed up. In that case, we'll be clearing the obstacles for them. They're faster than us. They'll catch up with us sooner or later. Gu Shaoxian said, we'll definitely have a battle with Tian Shunlong. It's just a matter of time. You're right. Yang Hongwu nodded. Gu Shaoxian was right. Since they'll definitely have a battle with Tian Shunlong, they'll have to fight first. We can set up a formation here first. Gu Shaoxian said, I've already broken through to the 7th grade array master. You're also a 7th grade array master. We'll set up a formation together. When Tian Shunlong and the others arrive, we'll have a great advantage. Formation. Yang Hongwu's eyes lit up. The traps and savage beasts were all dealt with by him. However, they could still set up a formation. As long as the formation could stop Tian Shunlong and the others, it'll be fine. Of course, Yang Hongwu was reluctant to use the formation plate. What a joke! The formation plate was extremely precious. Moreover, if there was no one controlling the formation plate, its power would be greatly reduced. It wouldn't be worth it. Therefore, Yang Hongwu didn't plan to set up a complicated formation. It was simple, but it could block their path. In other words, it could slow down their speed. This was Yang Hongwu's goal. We don't need to fight with them. Yang Hongwu said, not fight? Gu Shaoxian was stunned. Anyway, we'll have a battle sooner or later. What if we don't fight? We can set up a formation to stop them. Yang Hongwu smiled. Moreover, the formation doesn't need to be powerful. It just needs to be able to delay time. The simpler the better. Of course, the longer the delay time. This method works. Gu Shaoxuan's eyes lit up and nodded. Setting up a formation to delay time was not a difficult task for a 7th grade formation master. However, there's a problem. What if they break the formation with brute force? Some low-level formations could delay time. However, if the other party used brute force to break the formation, it wouldn't be effective. We can't just set up simple formations, can we? Yang Hongwu's mouth curved up into a smile. Of course, it's possible to break the formation with brute force. However, some formations can't be broken by brute force. Although it's difficult to set it up, it's not impossible. It's just that it'll take more time. Now that there's still some distance away from us, it's enough for us to set it up. That's fine too. Gu Shaoxian nodded. But I don't know if they have a formation master. If they have a powerful formation master, the effect will be much weaker. Chapter 606. Yin and Yang Qi. The formation was quickly set up. Time passed quietly. At this moment, Tian Shunlong and the others arrived at the place where Yang Hongwu was setting up the formation. Young master, there's a formation here. One of them said, this formation has not been set up for long. It's not a high-level formation. However, it will take some time to break it. The other person said, this person was a formation master. However, he was only an early 6th grade formation master. However, it was still very rare. In ancient domain, there were very few 6th grade formation masters. As for 7th grade formation masters, there were only a few of them. In Tianyi Immortal Mansion, there was only one 7th grade formation master other than Tian Jinyan. In other words, there were only 2 7th grade formation masters in Tianyi Immortal Mansion. There were no 8th grade formation masters. Of course, there was Yang Hongwu and Gu Shaoxian now. It was just that no one knew about it. Gao Qingqing was also very likely to become a 7th grade formation master. However, she was different from Gu Shaoxian. It would take a long time for her to become a 7th grade formation master. How long will it take to break the formation? Tian Shunlong said indifferently. If it's to break the formation, I estimate that this formation will take an hour or even longer. I'm guessing that among the people who entered here, there's a grade 6 formation master or even a peak grade 6 formation master. He's much stronger than me. Is there no other way? Tian Shunlong asked. There's only one way. Break the formation with brute force. Break the formation with brute force. That's right. That will consume a lot of energy. If it's a formation like this, it will consume a lot of energy. Young master can break this formation with a single strike. However, he will need to use his full strength as a peak divine realm expert. Get out of the way. Tian Shunling didn't say anything. He directly arrived in front of the formation and punched out. Terrifying magic power erupted. The fist energy was like a falling meteor. It was extremely fast. With a loud bang, the fist smashed into the formation. The formation shattered with a bang. Let's go. After Tian Shanlong destroyed the array, he walked to the front. After taking a few steps, he found himself in another formation. Seems like they already know about our existence. It's another formation. Deity Lung frowned and launched another attack. One punch after another, and the array formation was shattered. After walking for more than 100 feet, they encountered 6 formations. The density of these formations made Tian Shanling furious. No matter how powerful he was, it was not a solution for him to exhaust 6 formations like this. 6 formations were fine, but what if there were more? 10? 100? In this way, he would be exhausted to death. Tian Shanlong was gnashing his teeth at the person who set up the formation. Is there no other way? The heavenly deity asked coldly. This, young master, actually the formation just now was much easier than the one at the beginning. However, before I could say anything, young master had already broken it. The formation master smiled bitterly. Deity Lung was too anxious and too confident. Some of these formations were strong, some were weak, and there were also variations. Not all of them were the same type of formation. The strength of the person who set up the array was far above his own. This was something that the array master had long noticed. Moreover, it seemed like there was not one person who set up the formation, but 2. The 2 formation masters were much stronger than him. You? Why didn't you say so earlier? Aren't you purposely letting young master exhaust his strength? The other person shouted. I didn't do it on purpose. The formation master felt wronged. There's not one person who set up the formation, but 2. 2 methods. Moreover, these 2 formation masters are much stronger than me. Stronger than you? There were 2 array masters? Who are they? Tianyi Immortal Mansion? That's impossible. Unless it was my aunt, no one else would have the ability to do that. The heavenly deity said coldly. Young master, could it be the Tai Xinfu? Tai Yuan Ba's strength has increased tremendously recently. It said that his strength is comparable to Gong Sun Long's. Maybe they're trying to stop young master from obtaining the Yin Yang coiling dragon grass to concoct the Yin Yang fortune pill. That's right. I'm afraid that's the only possibility. Once young master successfully breaks through, no one will be able to defeat young master. They'll definitely do everything they can to stop young master. I think it's more likely to be Ao Tianyi. You're right. No matter who it is, they won't be able to stop me. Break the formation. Quickly break the formation. I want to see who's trying to stop me. Tian Shanlong's eyes shone with cold light. At this moment, Yang Hongwu did not know what Tian Shanlong and the others were thinking. He and Gu Shaoxian had entered a huge space. The spiritual qi in this space was even more abundant. However, the spiritual qi here was very strange. It was yin and yang, but they were clearly separated. Pure yin qi, pure yang qi. No, it's yin and yang qi. Yang Hongwu opened his eyes wide. He did not expect that there would be yin and yang qi here. It was the easiest place to grow the yin-yang coiling dragon grass. As long as there was dragon blood, it could grow the yin-yang coiling dragon grass. It's the yin-yang coiling dragon grass. Suddenly, Gu Shaoxian pointed at a small pond in the distance. There were 2 small ponds, and the stalk of yin-yang coiling dragon grass was in the middle of the 2 ponds. This stalk of grass was half black and half white. It looked like a small, intertwined black and white dragon. Thus, it was called yin-yang coiling dragon grass. Within this stalk of grass, Yang Hongwu felt a trace of pure dragon power. Great, I finally found it. Once I get the yin-yang coiling dragon grass, I can save Sister Yuji. Gu Shaoxian sped up and ran toward the grass. Wait, Yang Hongwu suddenly stopped Gu Shaoxian. Junior brother Yang, what's wrong? Gu Shaoxian was confused. The yin-yang coiling dragon grass was right in front of them. Why'd he stop her? Was there a problem? Come back. Yang Hongwu's face was heavy because he saw something. It was a huge rock not far from the 2 ponds. Fu *K, it was not a rock but a head. It was a huge flood dragon. Only a part of its body was exposed, and that was its head. Moreover, only half of its head was exposed. It was unknown how long it had been there. It looked like a rock. Its nose was still breathing, and the air it breathed out was the yin and yang qi in the space. This huge flood dragon was probably the legendary yin-yang, sky-devouring flood dragon. Moreover, the strength of this yin-yang sky-devouring flood dragon was far beyond that of an ordinary level 8 savage beast. It was probably close to level 9. Chapter 607. Immortal Qiang Hongwu grabbed Gu Shaoxian with his big hand. "Junior brother, what's wrong? Why are you so nervous?" Gu Shaoxian was surprised to see Yang Hongwu so agitated. She asked Yang Hongwu, "Look, what's that?" Yang Hongwu pointed at the dragon's head. "It's too terrifying." Only a little of its head was exposed. The legendary yin-yang heaven-devouring dragon was not a joke. It was a level 8 savage beast, or even a level 9 savage beast. It was unrealistic for the two of them to deal with this beast. If this beast woke up, the two of them would probably become its snack. Yang Hongwu didn't want that. How is this possible? This is the yin-yang heaven-devouring dragon. Gu Shaoxian swallowed her saliva. Her back was drenched in cold sweat. This guy was too terrifying. She almost became that guy's snack. The yin-yang heaven-devouring flood dragon's perceptive ability was very strong. As long as one was within 3 feet of it, no matter what state it was in, deep sleep or cultivation, it would definitely wake up. Moreover, the creatures that disturbed its slumber would usually become its snack. Of course, Gu Shaoxian didn't know whether it was true or not. She had read about it in some books about the yin-yang heaven-devouring dragon. This is the yin-yang heaven-devouring dragon. What should we do now? If we want to get the yin-yang coiling dragon grass, we'll most likely wake it up. If that's the case, we'll be in danger. Gu Shaoxian looked at Yang Hongwu and said, "This was a very tricky problem. Even if those elders came, they might not be able to do it. Of course, if Yang Hongwu used all of his trump cards, he could definitely defeat the yin-yang heaven-devouring dragon. However, he wouldn't be able to deal with Tian Shenlong and the others. One should know that Tian Shenlong was behind them. This guy's target was the yin-yang coiling dragon grass. If the two of them spent a lot of effort to defeat the yin-yang heaven-devouring dragon, they would definitely consume a lot of energy. If they encountered Tian Shenlong and the others again, they wouldn't have the strength to fight. Wouldn't that benefit Tian Shenlong? This would not work. Of course, Yang Hongwu also knew this. So, he wouldn't be stupid enough to use his trump cards to fight to the death with the yin-yang heaven-devouring dragon. He had to think of a way. Yang Hongwu looked to the side. There was a cave. Although he didn't know what was the situation in the cave, Yang Hongwu's mouth. He said to Gu Shaoxian, "Senior Marshal's sister, let's go over there." "Junior brother Yang, you don't want the yin-yang coiling dragon grass anymore?" Gu Shaoxian asked. Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, "Of course not. The yin-yang coiling dragon grass is a must. However, it's not suitable for us to fight this beast head-on right now. We'll wait for Tian Shenlong and the others to arrive. We'll wait for them to fight to the death with this guy. When both sides are injured, we'll come again. Since Tian Shenlong dared to come here, he must have a powerful trump card. He must have a way to deal with this big guy." Yang Hongwu didn't believe that Tian Shenlong would be willing to give up this thing. However, before that, Yang Hongwu planned to disguise himself. So, Yang Hongwu made some blood and stained the surroundings. He wanted to create a fighting scene. He wanted them to think that the two of them were eaten by the yin-yang heaven-devouring dragon. In this way, they would be at ease to fight with the yin-yang heaven-devouring dragon. Otherwise, they would suspect that the two of them were trying to take advantage of the situation. Tian Shenlong wasn't that stupid. However, he didn't have to think too much at this time. "Junior brother, what are you doing?" "Setting up the scene." Yang Hongwu said, "Well, it's done. Let's go over there and wait for Tian Shenlong and the others' arrival." Gu Shaoxian now understood Yang Hongwu's purpose. It was a good idea to let Tian Shenlong and the others deal with the yin-yang heaven-devouring dragon. However, it wouldn't be easy to succeed. "Junior brother, Tian Shenlong is very smart. Will he be fooled?" "He will. He definitely will." The yin-yang coiling dragon grass was very important to him. How could he give it up? Even if there were no conditions, he would definitely create the conditions. Regarding this, Yang Hongwu did not have the slightest doubt. After entering the cave, Yang Hongwu set up a concealment formation to hide the entrance of the cave. He also asked the illusory cloud rat to set it up. The illusory cloud rat's ability to set up concealment formations had reached the peak. It could set up an 8th grade illusory formation. Although Yang Hongwu was a 7th grade formation master, it was impossible for him to set up an 8th grade illusory formation. After everything was arranged, Yang Hongwu and Gu Shaoxian prepared to enter the passage. They wanted to see what was inside, but they didn't know what was inside. Since this place could attract the yin-yang heaven-devouring dragon, it wouldn't be that simple. Although the yin-yang coiling dragon grass was good, it wasn't worth the yin-yang heaven-devouring dragon to guard here. The two entered the cave and moved forward slowly. After walking for about 20 feet, a light appeared in front of them. Yang Hongwu and Gu Shaoxian looked at each other. There was light here. Could it be that the exit was there? Not only was there light, there was also a flowing wind. There was also a whistling sound of wind coming from the light. It was the sound of a strong wind blowing. It was impossible for such a situation to appear in the depths of the cave. Then, there was only one possibility. It was the outside of the cave. Of course, there was also another possibility. It was the astral wind. However, if it was the astral wind, it would also exist in the cave. It was normal here. There was no astral wind. Therefore, there was only one possibility. The light was outside the 10,000 Dragons Valley, or it was a huge space. The two came to the entrance of the light. It's a restriction. Yang Hongwu looked at the entrance. The restriction at the entrance blocked the wind, but it couldn't block the sound. This made Yang Hongwu feel strange. Let's go. The restriction didn't obstruct living beings. It was as if it was specially set up to block the wind. After passing through the restriction, Yang Hongwu found that the immortal spiritual qi here was of a higher grade than any other place in the ancient domain. This made Yang Hongwu recall the situation in the Tanlang underground palace in the ancient desolate continent. That's right. It's the immortal spiritual qi that the heaven-climbing vine spits out. Yes, the immortal spiritual qi here is the same as the immortal spiritual qi that the heaven-climbing vine spits out. There's actually immortal spiritual qi here. Yang Hongwu was shocked. Chapter 608. Crystal Palace. This is immortal spiritual qi. I've seen it before in the ancient desolate continent. Yang Hongwu said, Immortal spiritual qi? Is this the heavenly domain? Immortal spiritual qi can only be found in the heavenly domain. How can it be here? Gu Shaoxian widened her eyes in shock. If this was really the immortal qi, it would be too shocking. This place was directly connected to the heaven region. How shocking would it be if the news spread out? It would be even more shocking than the birth of an emperor weapon. What was the purpose of the cultivators in the ancient domain? Wasn't it to increase their cultivation and enter the heavenly domain? Once they entered the heavenly domain, the laws of the world would change. It would be easier to cultivate. Breaking through to the venerable realm would be thousands of times easier than in the ancient domain. I don't know if this is the heavenly domain, but what I can be sure of is that this is indeed immortal spiritual energy. Back then, when I saw the heaven-climbing vine swallow and spit out spiritual energy, it was this kind of spiritual energy. Heaven-climbing vine? You've seen the heaven-climbing vine? Gu Xiaoshuan's eyes widened. Of course. When I was in the lower world, there was a heaven-climbing vine. It was in the herb garden of the Greedy Wolf sect. It was suppressed by a talisman. Otherwise, I wouldn't have seen it. When I saved the heaven-climbing vine, I received a section of its root as a gift. Unfortunately, that section of root is gone. Yang Hongwu sighed. Although Gu Shaoxian knew many of his secrets, there were some that even his women like Yuji didn't know. Gu Shaoxian hadn't become his woman yet. Naturally, he couldn't tell her. You, junior brother, you're too wasteful. Gu Shaoxian said bitterly when she heard that Yang Hongwu's heaven-climbing vine was gone. If the heaven-climbing vine could be successfully cultivated, it would be a huge addition to their combat power. Even if he couldn't cultivate it, he could refine the heaven-climbing vine. His cultivation speed would be thousands of times faster than before. Once he refined the heaven-climbing vine, it would be easy to ascend to the heavenly domain. I didn't know that at that time. Yang Hongwu couldn't help but smile. If she knew that he had something more terrifying than the heaven-climbing vine, what would she do? In his celestial abode, there was sure Bao, which was the gem of life and the most primordial life force in the entire universe. The other was the longevity ancient tree, which was rumored to be the source of all vegetation in the world. However, he had no idea if it was true. In any case, there was absolutely no need to doubt Nini's strength. No, it should be Nini's ancestor. It's a pity. There's nothing to be regretful about. It's my fortune to obtain it, but it's my fate to lose it. Don't be too calculative about the gains and losses. You think it's easy? Gu Shaoxian was still thinking about it. If the heaven-climbing vine was still here, how good would that be? What we need to pay attention to now is not the problem of the heaven-climbing vine, but this space. Do you think that this is also a medicine garden of a supreme expert, a different space created by a supreme expert? Or there's something similar to the heaven-climbing vine in this space? If there were heaven-climbing vines, heavenly spirit grass, it wouldn't be impossible for heaven-climbing vines, heavenly spirit chi, to appear in this space. The roots and branches of the heaven-climbing vine could directly penetrate into the heavenly domain in the lower bound and absorb the heaven-climbing vine's heavenly spirit chi to enhance itself. Other powerful heaven-climbing vine could also do the same. However, there weren't many that were stronger than the heaven-climbing vine. However, once these spiritual creatures reached such a level, they would have their own consciousness. If one wasn't careful, they might become their enemy and become their nutrients. Just like the heaven-climbing vine, it killed people like flies. Yang Hongwu saw it clearly. At that time, many warriors died under the heaven-climbing vine. They were swallowed alive by the heaven-climbing vine and became its nutrients. If he hadn't saved the heaven-climbing vine and obtained the divine dragon demon suppression talisman, he would have become its nutrients. Well, it's very strange here. We have to be careful. Gu Shaoxian said, but I think we should leave here first and go back to get the yin-yang coiling dragon grass. Gu Shaoxian felt an uncontrollable danger in this place. She was a little uneasy, so she said that. Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, it's okay. My psychic cat doppelganger is guarding over there. Once something happens, I'll sense it immediately. I'll be there at any time. One of the great advantages of the Qi transforming 3 pristine ones was that it could switch between the doppelganger and the original body. In this way, it was like having an additional fixed-point transmission. Of course, there was a limit to this. If he was controlled by an expert whose cultivation was much higher than his or locked onto his aura, it would not be easy to use this secret technique. Moreover, if he was interrupted, his original body would fall into the spatial turbulence. If he was not careful, his body would be smashed into pieces and he would die without a burial place. In that case, all right, Gu Shaoxian nodded, but I feel that there's danger. We have to be very careful. Yang Hongwu nodded in agreement. In a place like this, everyone had to be careful. It would be very troublesome if they encountered some terrifying existence. Yang Hongwu also had a premonition that there would be a fortuitous encounter in this space. Of course, whether it was good or bad, this matter was unknown. However, for Yang Hongwu, if something really happened, he could teleport away, or he could directly explode the Emperor weapon. This would buy him some time. This was Yang Hongwu's last life-saving trump card. The two of them advanced. Every step was taken carefully, not daring to be careless. They even held their breaths. The further they went, the wider the space became. Moreover, flowers, trees, and streams appeared. It was like a paradise on earth. Not far away, a magnificent house appeared. It was a crystal palace. Looking at it, they took a deep breath. The crystal palace was very rich in spirit chi. At this time, Luli flew out of the divine dwellings and said to Yang Hongwu, I feel the power of the ancestral dragon's bloodline. The power of the ancestral dragon's bloodline? Yang Hongwu's eyes widened. Could it be that there was a dragon in here? And it wasn't an ordinary dragon, but an ancestral dragon. The strength of an ancestral dragon was definitely at the level of a great emperor or even higher. Yes, Luli nodded. Let's go take a look. If it was an ancestral dragon, there shouldn't be any harm. However, they had to be careful just in case. Chapter 609. Empress? Inside the Crystal Palace, there were flowers and brocade, and the fragrance was rich. This fragrance made people feel relaxed and happy. This fragrance can increase one's spiritual force and even help one's soul force. Yang Hongwu was pleasantly surprised. Cultivating here for a day is equivalent to cultivating outside for a year. Gu Shaoxian said, if I can cultivate here for a year, I might be able to break through to the hierarch realm. Look over there. Yang Hongwu pointed to a tall, 7-colored crystal platform in front of him. There was a person lying on the 7-colored crystal platform. It was an extremely beautiful woman. She was wearing a 7-colored silk dress and had an imperial crown on her head. This was the attire of an emperor. Could it be that she's an empress? Yang Hongwu took a deep breath. An empress? If she's an empress, then she's terrifying. No wonder there's a mortal chi here. Is this empress an ancestral dragon? This made Yang Hongwu even more curious. Luli said that there's an ancestral dragon's bloodline aura here, but there's only a female corpse on top of the 7-colored crystal platform in this palace. Luli, feel it. Is that her bloodline? Yang Hongwu pointed at the empress on top of the 7-colored crystal platform. Look at her face. Gu Shaoxian exclaimed. She looks like Luli. No, they're exactly the same. At this moment, the 7-colored crystal platform slowly descended. Gu Shaoxian saw the empress's face clearly and exclaimed, Luli, they're exactly the same. Yang Hongwu was stunned. They're exactly the same. Is she my ancestor? Luli was also extremely shocked. This woman's appearance was simply carved from the same mold as her. Or rather, it could be said that they were basically the same person. However, compared to Luli, she was just one size bigger. She's not a 7-colored Luli dragon. Sure Baoer's voice appeared in Yang Hongwu's ears. If she's not a 7-colored Luli dragon, then what is she? Yang Hongwu was stunned. At this moment, Sure Baoer appeared. Yang Hongwu was naturally happy. There were many things he didn't know, but with Sure Baoer's guidance, things would be different. This empress is from the fairy dragon clan, Sure Baoer said. Moreover, she's the ancestral dragon of the fairy dragon clan. She's extremely powerful. She's much stronger than the strongest great emperor in Jiutian Shitty Continent. Great Emperor Dragon Clan's dragon. Yang Hongwu took a deep breath. Since she's so powerful, how could she die? Yang Hongwu said, everyone will die. No one can achieve immortality, not even the great emperors. Although the fairy ancestral dragon was extremely powerful, her life had an end. Moreover, she encountered a powerful enemy and was seriously injured. That's why she died so early, Sure Baoer said. But she's not really dead. Not really dead? Yang Hongwu was shocked. Could it be that she's still alive? Will the Empress wake up at any moment? No, that's not the case. Sure Baoer shook his head and said, she's living in another form. In other words, it's more appropriate to call her reincarnation. At this moment, Sure Baoer shifted her gaze onto Azurite. Well, didn't you say that Lu Li is the reincarnation of this Empress? Yang Hongwu took a deep breath. If that was the case, then it was too shocking. Moreover, he didn't know whether it was good or bad. If Lu Li was really the Empress, then she would wake up sooner or later. What would happen after she woke up? What kind of situation would it be for him? Yes, that's right. Yang Hongwu was about to say something when the Empress stood up. Her powerful aura enveloped the entire palace. Yang Hongwu found that he couldn't even move. Even his mind and soul were shackled. Yang Hongwu was horrified. This is the end. If this woman wants to harm me, then I'm dead. Is this the strength of the Empress? I can't even breathe with my little cultivation. Even if I'm 10,000 times stronger, I'm afraid I can't even compare to 1/10,000th of the Empress's strength. Terrifying, truly terrifying. She was on a completely different level compared to the Morning Soul Emperor he had encountered in the past. You're finally here. The Empress opened her eyes. Her eyes were like the vast starry sky and the boundless universe. They were so beautiful, deep, and mesmerizing. I've waited for 1,000,000 years. Finally, you're here. After a while, Yang Hongwu found that he could control his body and asked, Who are you? It's you? Seeing Yang Hongwu, the Empress's eyes flashed with a complicated light. So I can't escape in the end? This woman seemed to know him. Yang Hongwu was even more confused. He wasn't from this world. However, could it be that the body he possessed was also the reincarnation of a big shot she knew? Thinking of this, Yang Hongwu felt his hair stand on end. If he met that reincarnation one day, wouldn't he be in trouble? If that happened, would he be able to resist that reincarnation? Yang Hongwu didn't want to become someone else. This was absolutely not allowed. Therefore, he had to cultivate and improve himself crazily. When he was strong enough, no matter how strong that reincarnation was, it wouldn't be able to replace him. It would only be a part of his memories. It would never be able to control him. Yang Hongwu wouldn't even fuse with the other party's soul. He could only devour and refine it. There's no way to escape from the power of fate. The Emperor sighed and pointed at Lu Li. Come over. Senior, who are you? Are you the ancestor dragon of the Rainbow Lu Li Dragon Clan? Lu Li looked at the Empress. I feel that you're very familiar. Rainbow Lu Li Dragon? No, I'm not a Rainbow Lu Li Dragon. I'm a fairy dragon. You're also a fairy dragon. Rainbow Lu Li Dragon is just a branch of the fairy dragon. The Empress said, As for the ancestor dragon, you can say so. Fairy dragon? You're saying that I'm a fairy dragon? Lu Li was a little confused. In her memory, there was no such thing as a fairy dragon. Yang Hongwu was also speechless. In fact, the name fairy dragon wasn't as domineering as the Rainbow Lu Li Dragon God. I don't have much time. You'll know in the future. Come over now, the Empress said. Lu Li looked at Yang Hongwu. She was a little hesitant and worried. Chapter 610. The powerful Lu Li, after seeing Yang Hongwu nod, Lu Li walked towards the Empress. The Empress waved her hand, and a ray of light fell on Lu Li's body. Lu Li trembled and was enveloped by the light. Then, the Empress flew up and landed beside Lu Li. She turned into a ray of colorful light and merged with Lu Li's body. Lu Li's aura became stronger and stronger, more and more terrifying. That powerful aura made Yang Hongwu breathless. The spiritual energy in the surroundings was very abundant. Immortal spiritual energy surged and gathered, forming a huge whirlpool that constantly surged towards Lu Li. Yang Hongwu gritted his teeth and began to cultivate. This was an excellent opportunity. Gu Shaoxian was the same. Although Yang Hongwu was very worried about Lu Li, he had no other choice. He could only hope that this Empress wouldn't harm Lu Li. After some time, Yang Hongwu opened his eyes. At this time, Lu Li stood beside Yang Hongwu. Seeing that he woke up, he said, You're awake. Are you Lu Li or the Empress now? Yang Hongwu asked. Brother, I'm Lu Li, but I'm also the Empress. Lu Li smiled and said, Brother, you don't have to worry. Moreover, I've already signed a contract with you. I've already become your battle pet. You become my battle pet. Yang Hongwu's eyes widened. What's going on? Yang Hongwu checked and found that it was true. Lu Li had signed a contract with him. Moreover, the contract he signed with the illusory cloud rat Xiao Jin had disappeared. Although he could still control Xiao Jin and the others, the contract had disappeared. He was still in control of their life and death. The only one who had a contract with him was Lu Li. However, the battle pet contract was a little different. It was equal. However, this contract was with Yang Hongwu. In other words, if Yang Hongwu died, Lu Li would also die. However, if Lu Li died, Yang Hongwu's life would not be in danger. Because you have the 9 dragons' same body. As for the details, you'll know later. However, I can tell you that this is fate. Lu Li said. Lu Li, how is your current strength? Since it had already become a reality, there was no way to change it. Moreover, this was not a bad thing for Yang Hongwu. On the contrary, Yang Hongwu found that his strength had made a breakthrough. Now he had reached the 4th level of the Tao platform realm. My strength has already reached the 10th level of the divine realm. Moreover, I can erupt with the battle prowess of the 1st level of the venerable realm. However, there's a huge limitation. This limitation is related to brother's cultivation. If brother's cultivation is stronger, then the battle prowess I can unleash will be stronger, and the time I can erupt will be longer, said Lu Li. Yang Hongwu was happy to hear that. He didn't expect that Lu Li's strength had improved, and he could exert the fighting strength of the Venerable Realm. In this way, he would have more trump cards. One was the battle spirit possession, and the other was Lu Li's fighting strength of the Venerable Realm. In other words, if he exerted his full strength, he could deal with 2 Venerable Realm warriors. In this way, he was more confident to deal with Zetian 2 months later. Even if he fell out with Tai Xianfu, Yang Hongwu was confident enough to protect himself. This was under the condition that he overestimated Tai Xianfu. Therefore, the improvement of Lu Li's strength made Yang Hongwu very happy. At this time, Gu Shaoxian also woke up. Her cultivation had also improved. Senior sister, you woke up. Let's go, Yang Hongwu said. Gu Shaoxian nodded. For her, the biggest gain this time was the improvement of her strength. Her formation skill had reached the middle stage of level 7. It was very difficult for an array master to make a breakthrough after reaching level 7. Her master, Zhan Yun, had spent 10 years to reach the middle stage of level 7 from the early stage of level 7. 10 years. How long had it been since she reached the 7th level? In less than a month, she had reached the middle of the 7th level. This speed was too shocking. She didn't even dare to think about it before. Junior brother, where is the Empress? Gu Shaoxian asked while walking. The Empress has disappeared. Lu Li got the inheritance, Yang Hongwu said. Yang Hongwu didn't know the specific situation. Of course, he didn't need to know this. Anyway, he only needed to know that Lu Li had become his war pet, his only war pet. That was enough. We have to speed up. The battle has begun. I didn't expect that I underestimated Tian Shenlong. He is very powerful. The yin-yang heaven-swallowing dragon is about to be defeated. Gu Shaoxian was shocked. The yin-yang heaven-swallowing dragon was so powerful. How could Tian Shenlong defeat it so quickly? Junior brother, is what you said true? Of course. Yang Hongwu nodded and said, Tian Shenlong's strength is indeed beyond my expectation. I didn't expect that he could defeat the yin-yang heaven-swallowing dragon in such a short time. I can't let the yin-yang coiling dragon grass and the yin-yang heaven-swallowing dragon fall into his hands. In this place, besides the yin-yang coiling dragon grass, the most precious thing was the yin-yang heaven-swallowing dragon. It would be best if they could capture it alive and subdue it. Even if they couldn't subdue it, they could kill it. The yin-yang heaven-swallowing dragon was full of treasures. After a few breaths, Yang Hongwu and Gu Shaoxian arrived at the exit of the cave. Yang Hongwu called the psychic cat back. Not far away, Tian Shenlong's group had suffered heavy casualties. The only one who could still fight was the array master. The others were either dead or injured. They had no strength to fight at all. Of course, Tian Shenlong's aura was terrifying. He definitely had the cultivation of a venerable. He also had a supreme treasure in his hand. It was definitely an emperor weapon. It was the cold blood saber. This saber was a terrifying battle saber. When it was used, it could directly freeze the enemy's blood to the extreme. It could be seen how terrifying this battle saber was. If one's strength wasn't strong enough, once the saber chi of this battle saber touched it, they would be frozen no matter how strong they were. Of course, this battle saber also had a flaw. If it encountered an enemy without blood, it wouldn't have this additional attribute. However, for ordinary warriors or savage beasts, this battle saber was absolutely terrifying. It was a deadly weapon. Chapter 611. Cold Blood Blade, so powerful. Seeing the yin-yang heaven-devouring flood dragon so powerful, Yang Hongwu couldn't help but be startled. After a great battle, there were huge wounds on the flood dragon's body. His wounds were all frozen, and there was no way for blood to flow out. However, the yin-yang heaven-devouring dragon was not to be underestimated even though it was severely injured. Tian Shenlong's eyes turned serious. He did not expect the yin-yang heaven-devouring dragon to be so powerful. He had used his greatest trump card, the Cold Blood Blade, but he still could not kill the beast. Bang! Lung Shue's blade once again cut through the skin of the Yin-Yang Heaven swallowing flood dragon. The Yin-Yang Heaven swallowing flood dragon's huge claws slashed out a sharp wind. This sharp wind made Lung Shui unable to dodge. His clothes were torn apart, revealing a set of white armor. Yang Hongwu's eyes lit up when he saw the white armor. To be able to withstand such a terrifying attack from the Yin-Yang heaven-devouring flood dragon without being torn apart, one could tell that this armor was definitely not simple. Of course, Tian Shenlong would not be interested in it if it was just an ordinary item. Damn beast. Tian Shenlong was furious. He wasn't this angry when some of his subordinates were killed. However, this bastard actually injured him. That was why Tian Shenlong was so angry. You're courting death. I'm going to tear you into pieces. Tian Shenlong roared. Human, damn human. Do you think I'll let you go? I admit that you're very powerful and your treasure is very powerful. However, I'm not someone to be trifled with. Even if I die, I won't let you off easily. The Yin-Yang heaven-devouring dragon was furious. Its body started to change, growing bigger and bigger. White and black colors kept changing. The terrifying Yin-Yang chi kept changing at a faster speed. You beast, you want to self-destruct? You must be dreaming. Tian Shun snorted coldly. The cold blood saber in his hand flew out and turned into an ice dragon. It opened its mouth and rushed towards the heaven-devouring flood dragon. The heaven-devouring flood dragon didn't have time to react before it was swallowed by the huge ice dragon. When Yang Hongwu saw this scene, his eyes widened. This weapon of Tian Shenling's was a little too powerful, wasn't it? It was even stronger than ordinary emperor weapons. Artifact spirit. Yang Hongwu thought of this. The cold blood saber had an artifact spirit. The ice dragon was most likely the cold blood saber's artifact spirit. Yang Hongwu's weapons were good, such as the true dragon blade, the nine dragons battle blade, and so on. However, none of them had awakened a weapon spirit. Yang Hongwu didn't know if there was one, but even if there was, it hadn't awakened yet. Seeing this weapon, Yang Hongwu was tempted. If he could get his hands on it, his battle prowess would increase by quite a bit. It was similar to the Soul Oracle in his Heaven Punishment Battle diagram, the Chiyu in the Heavenly Witch Jar, and the Skeleton Warriors in Yama's Invitation. Of course, Yang Hongwu still had the Life and Death Pagoda, which was also an Emperor weapon. However, Yang Hongwu wasn't able to awaken its artifact spirit. Or perhaps the Life and Death Pagoda didn't have an artifact spirit. If it really had an artifact spirit, the Lotus Emperor wouldn't have been in such a miserable state. Therefore, Yang Hongwu guessed that the Life and Death Pagoda didn't have an artifact spirit. Of course, as an Emperor weapon, an artifact spirit could definitely be born. However, no one knew when it would appear. Moreover, his current strength wasn't enough to control the Life and Death Pagoda. Unless he reached the God Realm, he wouldn't be qualified to control the Life and Death Pagoda. The power of the Life and Death Pagoda was beyond Yang Hongwu's imagination. This was the true power of an Emperor weapon. Since the Yin-Yang heaven-devouring dragon had been dealt with, Yang Hongwu walked out. Clap, clap. He clapped his hands and laughed. Not bad, not bad, not bad at all. No wonder you're the second strongest among the younger generation in the Qianni Immortal Mansion. You're really strong. It's you. I didn't notice you hiding here. Seeing Yang Hongwu's appearance, Tian Shenling wasn't surprised. He wasn't like his subordinates who were so easily fooled. The blood on the ground was left behind, and there were some traces of fighting. But as long as one looked carefully and thought about it, they would be able to find the flaws. Tian Shenling wasn't a fool. He knew this clearly. However, he was confident in his own strength. Even if those old men took action, they might not be able to keep him here. He believed in Lung Shui Dao. It's normal that you didn't notice me. Yang Hongwu said, Gu Shaoxian, you're here too? When Tian Shenlong saw Gu Shaoxian who walked out from behind Yang Hongwu, he frowned. You're Yang Hongwu. He had been preparing for the Yin-Yang coiling dragon grass for the past few days. However, he knew that the leader had taken in a registered disciple. That's right. I'm Yang Hongwu. I need the Yin-Yang coiling dragon grass too. Senior brother Tian Shenlong, why don't you give it to me? Yang Hongwu said with a smile. You want the yin yang coiling dragon grass? Tian Shunlong looked at Yang Hongwu with disdain. I'm sorry, junior brother Yang. The yin yang coiling dragon grass is very useful to me. Therefore, I can't give it to you. If you need other herbs, I might be able to help you. However, I can't give it to you. But I want the yin yang coiling dragon grass. It's very important to me. I need to save someone. Senior brother, you won't leave me in the lurch, right? Yang Hongwu said. Master, why are you wasting time with him? Just kill him. That's right. This brat is only at the 4th level of the Tao pedestal realm. He won't be able to withstand a single blow. As for this woman, I remember that second young master likes her a lot. Why don't we capture her and offer her to second young master? He'll definitely be happy. Tian Shunlong's face darkened. His brother, Tian Shinjio, was dead. Outsiders didn't know about it, but as a member of the Tian clan, he knew about it. He had received the news long ago. Shut up. Hee, you want to kill me? Senior brother Tian Shunlong, these servants of yours are very arrogant. Even the master hasn't said anything, and they're already attacking. These dogs are really useless. Why don't I take care of them for you? Then, Yang Hongwu used the Spirit Refining Heart Sutra and the Yin Yang Soul Lock Curse at the same time. Those few servants immediately rolled their eyes and fell weakly to the ground. Now that Yang Hongwu's cultivation base had increased again, the Spirit Refining Heart Sutra and the Yin Yang Soul Lock Curse had reached the pinnacle. Dealing with these injured fellows was a piece of cake. Chapter 612. Defeating Tian Shunlong. You killed my people? How dare you? I am indeed very courageous. Not only did I kill them, but I also want to kill you. I like the emperor weapon in your hand very much. After killing you, it will be mine. Yang Hongwu said. Good, good, very good. Tian Shunlong was so angry that he laughed. No one had ever dared to talk to him in such an arrogant manner. Even Ao Tianyi did not have the ability to say that he would kill him. However, this disciple who had just become the leader's disciple dared to be so arrogant. You want to kill me and take my cold blood blade? Let's see if you have the strength to do so. Then Tian Shunlong's aura burst out, bringing along a terrifying cold chi. The reason why Tian Shunlong had the word cold in his name was because of his special battle physique, the ancient ice god battle physique. The ancient ice god was terrifyingly strong. He could freeze everything within 10,000 miles. The cold blood blade was the ancient ice god's weapon. In order to refine this weapon, the ancient ice god had killed a great emperor-level ice dragon and sealed it in the cold blood blade. Of course, this was just a legend. However, Tian Shunlong was born with a bone-piercing cold. Even a midwife who helped him when he was born was frozen to death. If his mother was not strong enough, she would have also been frozen to death. However, his mother had fallen ill after giving birth to him. She died a few years later. As for his younger brother, Tian Shinjio, he was only his younger brother from a different mother. You will see my strength soon. Yang Hongwu sneered. Luli, go and show me your strength. All right. Azurite appeared. He looked at the heavenly god and rubbed his fists. Tian Shunlong was quite strong and had a powerful emperor weapon in his hand. He was a good opponent to train with. She who had obtained the inheritance of the great empress was extremely strong and had rich battle experience. However, it was just the experience of the great empress. Tian Shunlong's face sank. This woman gave him so much pressure that even the cold blood saber in his hand was trembling. The tool spirit reminded him that this woman was not simple. Her strength was terrifying, and her combat power had probably reached the level of a venerable one. No wonder Yang Hongwu was so arrogant. Of course, he could also tell that this woman was not a real human. As for what her true form was, he did not know. It was also possible that this woman was the weapon spirit of the archweapon, just like the ice dragon in his cold-blooded blade. Oomph. The god of heaven snorted coldly. The cold blood saber in his hand once again released a terrifying coldness, freezing everything around him. Kill! He shouted and waved the cold-blooded blade in his hand. The terrifying cold air turned into a huge ice blade and chopped towards Luli. Luli's face changed slightly, looking a little dignified. Immortal light break. Luli raised her lily-white hand and pointed her finger. A seven-colored light burst out and turned into a colorful light beam, shooting towards the huge ice blade. Crack! A crisp sound was heard as the huge ice blade broke into pieces. However, Luli did not stop her attack. She grabbed the air with her right hand and a seven-colored ribbon appeared. This seven-colored ribbon was as beautiful as a rainbow in the sky. In the next moment, the beautiful ribbon turned into a seven-colored sharp sword and pierced towards Tian Shenlong. Whoosh! It was so fast that no one could see it clearly. Ice Dragon. Seeing Lu Li's terrifying sword, Tian Shenlong felt that his life was in danger. He finally used his trump card, activating the Cold Blood Saber and releasing the Ice Dragon that was sealed in the Cold Blood Saber. A huge ice dragon bared its fangs and brandished its claws. Its sharp claws clawed towards the seven-colored sword. Clang! The seven-colored sword clashed with the ice dragon's claws, causing sparks to fly everywhere. The terrifying shockwave shattered the surrounding walls. There were also sword marks and claw marks on the ground. Yang Hongwu and Gu Shaoxian had to retreat further away to avoid being affected by the shockwave. Boom! Boom! After a series of explosions, Luli took a few steps back. Her face was red. She had used up a lot of energy. The ice dragon was also pushed back. Tian Shenlong also took a few steps back, his face pale. It was obvious that he did not have it easy. The ice dragon was the weapon spirit of the Cold Blood Saber. Since the Cold Blood Saber suffered such a powerful impact, Tian Shenlong had to bear a part of the impact. Is that all? The Cold Blood Saber is indeed powerful. However, your cultivation is too weak. If you can reach the fourth-step hierarch realm, I might not be your opponent. Luli said, and a sharp light shot out from her eyes. Soul seizing sword art. The seven-colored sword emitted a beautiful light that could seize one's soul. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The sword light shot towards Tian Shenlong. Tian Shenlong's face fell. The ice dragon roared and rushed forward. However, the ice dragon's body was too huge. The rainbow-colored sword lights were very small, but they were densely packed together. It was impossible to count them. Although the ice dragon's defense was powerful, it couldn't withstand the terrifying seven-colored sword chi. It was instantly pierced through, and numerous wounds appeared on its body. After a few breaths, the ice dragon could not withstand it anymore. Rumble! The huge body of the ice dragon suddenly collapsed and turned into fragments. The fragments condensed into a white stream of air and entered the Cold Blood Saber. At this moment, Tian Shenlong's body shook violently. He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. The ice dragon was destroyed, which caused great damage to Tian Shenlong. He suffered a great backlash and was severely injured. Tian Shenlong didn't even have the time to dodge before Lu Li's rainbow sword was placed on his neck. Are you still arrogant? Lu Li said indifferently with disdain in his eyes. Yang Hongwu, you dare to kill me? Tian Shenlong looked at Lu Li. His eyes were cold and filled with killing intent. He knew that if Yang Hongwu said anything, this woman would definitely kill him. Why not? Yang Hongwu said, I have said that I will kill you. If you had given me the yin-yang coiling dragon grass, this would not have happened. You can't kill me. Even if you're the disciple of the leader, you can't kill me. Do you know that I am the next leader of the Tianyi Immortal Mansion? Only I can fight for the first place in this year's Immortal Mansion ranking. Only I can fight against the Tai Xianfu. Yang Hongwu laughed and said, You think too highly of yourself. Do you think that I can't do it? Chapter 613. Kill. That's not something you should be worried about. Yang Hongwu said with a smile. The Immortal Mansion ranking competition wasn't important to Yang Hongwu. The most important thing for him was to increase his strength and kill Zetian. In Ancient Domain, Yang Hongwu's biggest enemy was Zetian. As long as he killed Zetian, everything would be fine. If Zetian wasn't killed and Zetian found his true body and released it, it would be the end of the world. Yang Hongwu didn't have any confidence in dealing with that great devil. Even the soul-suppressing tablet couldn't do anything to him. It could be seen how terrifying he was. Go to hell. Yang Hongwu's eyes were filled with killing intent. This guy was going to die. Yang Hongwu didn't want to have such a troublesome opponent in the Tianyi Immortal Mansion. This guy had a lot of trump cards. If he let him go, he might fail miserably. This guy might even be stalling for time. Therefore, Yang Hongwu didn't hesitate. He waved the battle blade in his hand and slashed towards Tian Shun's neck. "You'll regret it if you kill me," Tian Shun said sternly. "Regret? I never regret anything." Yang Hongwu didn't care about Tian Shun's threat. Who would know if he killed Tian Shun? Even if they knew, so what? In the Tianyi Immortal Mansion, there weren't any people who could kill him, unless it was an enemy from the heavenly domain. If that was the case, he would have some scruples. Go ahead. However, I can tell you that this is only a clone of mine. My true body is currently cultivating and has already broken through to the venerable realm. My true body will not let you go. True body? Huh. Do you think I'm that stupid? Let you go. Even if it's a clone, I'll still kill it. Since I can kill your clone, I can also kill your true body. However, I know that this isn't a clone, it's your true body. You've forgotten one thing. Although your clone is powerful, it can't control the cold blood blade perfectly. You should know that the cold blood blade is an emperor weapon. Emperor weapons have their own dignity. Apart from a master, no one can use it. Even if a clone can use it, it can't control it perfectly. Yang Hongwu sneered. "You can't lie to me. You've forgotten that I'm also an emperor weapon. You..." Before he could speak, Yang Hongwu's saber had already cut off his head. Then, Yang Hongwu used the dragon soul to devour his soul. His battle physique and bloodline were refined by the dragon soul and turned into pure energy. Yang Hongwu felt that his cultivation had improved once again. Moreover, the improvement wasn't small. Although he didn't have a real breakthrough, his cultivation would increase by another level if he could kill and refine such a person. However, it would be difficult to kill such a genius. In the Tianyi Immortal Mansion, only A.O. Tianyi was comparable to Tian Shenlong. Of course, there were other immortal mansions apart from the Tianyi Immortal Mansion. For example, Tai Yuanba of the Tai Xianfu was quite strong. Although he wasn't as strong as Tian Shenlong, he wasn't too far behind. As for the other geniuses, they should be actively preparing for the Immortal Mansion ranking competition that would take place 2 months later. After Tian Shenlong died, the cold blood blade lost its master and regained its freedom. Its aura gradually became terrifying. It was as if it was a terrifying killing weapon. It had its own consciousness. Whoosh! The cold blood blade flew towards Yang Hongwu. It seemed like it wanted to kill Yang Hongwu to avenge Tian Shenlong. Yang Hongwu was also shocked. He didn't expect that the cold blood blade would still be so terrifying after losing its master. Yang Hongwu was shocked under the terrifying pressure. What a powerful strength! The power of the cold blood blade was probably even more terrifying than when it was in Tian Shenlong's hands. Damn it! Yang Hongwu cursed. He instantly took out the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram, Heavenly Wizard Jar, and Yama's Invitation. Of course, he also released the true dragon armor on his body. Bang! 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 However, to Yang Hongwu's surprise, his weapons, the Heaven Punishment Battle Map, the Heavenly Magus Jar, and Yama's Note, were not Ohai's match. He was sent flying. The terrifying saber light shot towards Yang Hongwu's forehead. "Brother, be careful!" Luli turned pale with fright when she saw this. The rainbow sword in her hand flew out in an attempt to block Lung Xuedao's attack. The sword and saber collided, emitting a shocking light. The entire sky was illuminated once again. Swoosh! 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 The sword chi and saber light once again wreaked havoc on the surrounding walls. Boom! A loud sound was heard. A wall was blasted open. A large passageway appeared. Looking along the passageway, there was a huge space on the other side. That space was densely packed with poisonous snakes. One of the Snake Kings was no smaller than the Yin-Yang Heaven-Devouring Dragon that was killed. Shit! Yang Hongwu's face changed. This was not good. This was a snake cave. Those poisonous snakes had discovered Yang Hongwu's existence. They rushed towards Yang Hongwu in a frenzy. It was so densely packed that it made one's scalp tingle. Damn it! It's all because of this damn cold blood blade. An emperor weapon was indeed an emperor weapon. It wasn't easy to obtain it. It could even avenge its master. This was too bad asterisk assess. However, thinking about it, emperor weapons had their own consciousness. This cold bloodblade's consciousness had long been awakened. It wasn't strange that it would avenge its master. The dense group of snakes posed a huge threat to Yang Hanwu. However, the most important thing right now was the cold bloodblade. Although Lu Li had blocked the attack, his body was also sent flying. Lu Li had fought with the cold bloodblade just now and barely won. But now, the situation was different. The cold bloodblade had lost the restriction of its master and its strength had increased. However, Lu Li's strength hadn't been fully activated. In addition to the previous consumption, his strength was inferior to the cold bloodblade. Therefore, Lu Li was sent flying. The cold bloodblade attacked Yang Hanwu again. This time, it was faster and fiercer. Yang Hanwu was shocked. Just as he was about to use the battle spirit possession to block the terrifying cold bloodblade, something happened in the divine abode. The nine heavens' mysterious tower appeared and flew out of the divine abode. A white light appeared in the nine heavens' immortal abode. This white light enveloped the cold bloodblade. Then, the cold bloodblade began to struggle violently. It couldn't attack Yang Hanwu. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.